going live, going live, going. We're live. We are live right on time. Look at that. I think we got in right at 2:22, right under the. Hey
Maybe like,
everybody, welcome back. Sorry, God.
go ahead.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the most you know what? It's like my
Lively.
homework. The
That
most
should be part of your.
lighthearted,
Yes, I like that.
non-judgmental show, the best darn show on the internet, the Oversharing Show.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah, we got it's great
I
because
love
it's
it. The
10:10 today.
non-judgmental. Would you say lighthearted and non-judgmental?
Lighthearted,
I love that.
non-judgmental. Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
love
mean,
that.
unless you're from like Norway, then no, I'm just kidding. It'd be funny. Like a weird, like, no.
Unless you're from the fjords of
Yeah,
Norway.
like
I'm
if
just
you're
kidding.
listen, if you can't be from fjords, come on. What are you, like some kind of elf? You're not even a person. Um, lucky we're
Hey,
just
elves are
jealous.
cool.
Elves are way cool. But it's
As you start
10:10
another
today.
egregore.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm just secretly jealous because they're elves, so we have to hate on them, right? Like, but no, it's 10:10 today,
Uh,
and it's 2:22 we started. So we're going with all the numbers today. We're talking about the Dow. But Sharon gave me an amazing quote that we're gonna read today, or she's gonna read it. I'm gonna put it up on the screen for 10:10. And it's by here, I'll let Sharon.
yeah, today is 1010. It's a very cool number sequence. All right. Rumi says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You're the entire ocean in a drop." And I really, really love that quote because, well, I think it's true. And it just expresses the stuff that I've been resonating with for a long time. Well, I say a long time, but time is an illusion, isn't it?
Time is an illusion. Yes, it is. I sang
Yeah.
karaoke Sunday. I was so great. I did Killing Me Softly, and I just did it like with this way. I didn't go crazy. I was just like strumming my pain with her, you know. It was great though for a bunch of older people, old folks that were doing country, but they loved it. I mean, did a joke to open up. I did I was like,
Was
last
this a
Thanksgiving.
what
Uh
was it? A open mic or something?
when we went to see Elizabeth's friend's husband, he's in a cover band and they were playing a lot of classic rock like Pink Floyd, Jimi Hendrix, Tom Petty. It was really fun, a good time. And it was like during the day outside and inside the bar that ended at 5, but inside karaoke started at 4. So afterwards, I'm like, hey, there's not a lot of people. You want to sign up? And so I signed up. Elizabeth, I didn't get her to sign up. I don't think there was enough drinks involved, but so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I got to sing and I opened up with a new corny joke I've been kicking around. It's like, last Thanksgiving, everybody was worried because they lost the sides. They lost all the dinner sides. And I was like, don't worry, guys, they'll turn up. They'll turn up. They will sweet potato, mashed potato, they'll turn up in corn. Anyway, so everyone was like, what? And then I started singing. Those guys, I was doing like a lounge singer thing, and I was walking around like, hey, everybody, last Thanksgiving. So it was fun. And then,
Last Christmas. I'm just kidding.
yeah. Oh, and you want to
Last
hear
Thanksgiving, I gave you my turkey,
my turnips?
but the very next year, just kidding.
It disappeared. So they were actually Elizabeth and her other friend Kathleen, who watches the show. Shout out to Kathleen. How's it going? She might be watching. They were talking about singing White Rabbit, and then the next song, some lady got up and sang White Rabbit, or like a song later. It was what a synchronicity, and the
That's
lady did a good job. So
crazy.
yeah. So it was like,
One
okay.
pill makes you.
One pill makes you larger, and the other pill makes you small.
Yeah, I don't remember how it goes, but I know it does something like that
And the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. It's like
at
them.
all or
Go
something.
ask Alice.
Alice in
Who the
Wonderland.
so I just pulled the 10 of wands, which is crazy on 10-10, and I lost it in the deck, but it's right here. Um,
Nice. Ten of
I
Wands.
did a remix to that song because there's this song. It's an Irish song. Irish people know it really well, and it's like, the guy's like, I've been all my life, I've been living across the street from Alice, and the crowd's like, Alice, who the fuck is Alice? Like when I do it at weddings, Irish weddings, they'll all sing it. So I did a remix. I'm like, go ask Alice, and I'm like, who the fuck is Alice? When she was just small. I might have talked about that on the show before. I'm
She
having,
wasn't 10 feet tall, like Blue Kachina says.
yeah, like on 1010 with the 10 of wands, 10 feet tall.
Yeah. There we go. 10.
And here it is, by the
That's the
way.
number we're getting.
So
10,
this
10,
deck
10.
is the here.
The
Let me
infamous.
the well, no. This is the golden. I'm sorry, the golden tarot. Maybe not the golden dawn. Oh, I must maybe I added the word dawn.
You
This is
might
the
have.
gold.
I
Well, at least
thought
I
it.
didn't say it on the show. This is the
Oh,
golden tarot.
okay. I thought it was the Golden Dawn. All right. Golden.
I said that when we were before we were recording everybody, so that was my bad. But yes, the golden tarot. It's a deck that I've had, and this is the there we go, 10 of wands. Just so you can kind of get a look. There we go
It
with
looks
the
like a
glass.
beautiful tarot deck.
Yeah, it really is. Let me just see. Yeah, that see, look, it's very
Oh, right. Oh, like old, what would you call that
it's like medieval
style?
kind of
Yeah, medieval style.
renaissance-y. It
Yeah,
looks
yeah,
like
I
almost
like
even
it.
Renaissance. Like,
I like it.
so I'm gonna read from the book about the 10 of wands because I think it's a great synchronicity. There we got a 10 on 1010.
Right.
And maybe I can even let's see. 9, 10 of wands. Okay. 10 of wands. Upright meaning a burden. Ooh. It's funny because I showed it upside down first. Let's see. We'll check both of them. Upright meaning a burden. There is much responsibility to shoulder, and agreements you made in the past have become a great burden, as well as having too much work to do. You may be carrying financial or moral burdens. When this card appears early in a reading, it can also be a sign that you are feeling overwhelmed. You may need to lay out the cards again when you have a little more mental space. All right.
Mm.
And then the reverse meaning, unwittingly, its reverse meaning is self-deception. Oh, unwittingly, you have made a rod for your own back, but instead of taking responsibility, you may be blaming other people for burdening you. Your interpretation of a situation may be wildly different from that of others. Oh, what I like about this deck,
Wow.
it's really, well, maybe it's just this card, but it seems that it really like gets to the it's not messing around, it's like hard
Gets to
truth.
the heart of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, look at
Tells it
that.
like it is.
Yeah. That's funny though, because I don't feel like that applies, but no, to this podcast, I would say, but I would say, maybe just in life in general.
Oh, yeah. And it
You
could
have to,
apply to anybody that's in the chat right now.
yeah, for shizzle. But I also kind of feel that with the responsibilities thing, not in pretend this, I mean, not in regards to this podcast at all. This podcast is like my sanctuary, but in other parts of life, just because it's like a busy time and some people I work with, like one of the guys is hurt and I've been, you know, um, really busy, but it's cool though. I just go with the flow. And also 10 is the Wheel of Fortune in the major arcana. That's the card. So it's a little blurry. This stands for luck, fate, joy, and change. Upright meaning a twist of fate. Circumstances change unexpectedly for the better. It is your turn to benefit from spontaneous success and joy as good things come to you without effort. Take up every opportunity and appreciate this halcyon time, Halcyon. That's an interesting word.
Yes, I've looked that word up many times before and I always forget what it means.
Appreciate this halcyon time while it lasts. This shift in your life may also uncover new creative pathways, such as an alternative, stimulating career, as well as predicting better times financially. Oh, there we go. Long-term plans can now proceed unhindered. And I wanted to read that too, just because we're in October of an election year, and I'm not going to say any more about that. But when I was hanging out, here I have it just
The
on
day
page.
after my born day, I will say.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, by
shall
the
I
way,
say breathiversary? Because Dissident Jones wished me a happy breath anniversary yesterday. So I thought that
There
was
we
a
go.
cool word. Anyway,
Happy breathiversary to Sharon, by the way. Yay. um,
grazie. Grazie mille.
Grazie, prego, mille. It makes sense because it is labor season that people could see both sides. And, I guess Pluto might be in retrograde or something, but I asked Elizabeth today, I'm like, is Mercury in retrograde? I'm like, did Mercury explode like the Death Star? And we just don't know. Because it seems that communication is a little tough these days. People are just kind of misunderstanding, but it for me, it's working out well because I see it and then I'll just, oh no, this is what I meant. I got that Libra rising, so it works for me. But I think for some people it might not, and whatever else is going on. And I was talking about this exactly. I was hanging out with. We went to visit Elizabeth's great aunt, who's 99, and she has. Uh, I don't know if it's Alzheimer's exactly or what it is, but she doesn't, remember everybody. Or sometimes she will. But we were hanging out with her. It was a really good time. And before that, though, we went to lunch, and I was talking about this kind of stuff like communication and stuff. And I'm like, and I wonder, isn't it weird that the election is like next month? I'm like, do you think that could be by, and they were like, oh yeah, that is crazy. And then I didn't say anything more than that. But I just wanted to bring all this up because if you are somebody who's feeling a lot of turmoil and all this craziness that's going on, there's another side to it. Um it's really about focusing what you're grateful for, and then that kind of seems to expand or get better, and I think that we've been having such turbulent times since 2020 that I feel like it's got to switch and go to like some better times for a little bit. And
A
again,
halcyon time, a calm, peaceful, tranquil, happy, blissful, carefree, prosperous, and wealthy time. That's what halcyon means. I read all the.
exactly. Because I mean, Sharon and I have been having a blast, even though the world's going crazy. Like we're not saying that it's bad, but just imagine once it
I've
chills
been
out a little.
feeling the weird energy though, like just like
Yeah,
feeling like not necessarily hit by a ton of bricks, but just like feeling a little bit off and not super energetic and stuff. So I've been taking some kratom a little bit here and there to help maybe feel a
yeah,
little
that
bit
yeah,
more energetic. But
yeah. I've been feeling that weird too, like with but I just my whole schedule has just been like that, so I just been going with it, and it's so crazy how the synchronicities just work out, just the little ones. Like if I show up to the office to load up gear, somebody will just be leaving, and the garage is open. I could just pull right in without having to like get out and do all these things. It's just little things like that that I am very grateful for. But yeah, and I also like the Wheel of Fortune. It's a really cool card. So since we were on tens, I figured I'd talk about it a little bit.
yep, good.
Cool. Heel good. Yeah, you
Sehr
can really
gut.
make your own fortune.
Yesterday was 10-9. Nine's a hermit. And I think I hermited a little bit.
Oh yeah, I've been speaking of yeah. I, I think they put out an APB on me. I got a lot
A-
of yeah. Sorry everybody. Just have
APB?
patience with me. Yeah, all points bonus. Like it's what the cops do when someone's missing, they're like, we're gonna or no, APB I think is when they have like a wanted suspect that they're trying to find. Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know what
A
that is.
missing persons report is for when someone's missing, something like that. Yeah. But anyway, I'm excited today though to talk about the Dow because last week's episode was amazing. I mean, it is one of our favorite quotes, but I think we really made some connections and put some big picture things together. So I'm just excited to see where Lao Tzu goes with his whole because the last thing he said, those who know don't talk, those who talk don't know. That's kind of a big one.
Yeah. And
Because
go ahead.
cause I'm just saying because he knows that fact and he knows he has to write it down. And it's gonna piss people off, you know. So anyway, go ahead.
I was
Oh
just going to reiterate that the quote today was I just love this quote. You are not a
yeah.
drop in the ocean. You're the entire ocean in a drop. By Rumi.
Yeah, we kind of did. We didn't really talk about it that much. That maybe that's my bad, but I popped it back up on the screen because I did have a couple things that I wanted to say about it,
Please do.
which is it's such a great analogy in my mind. Um,
Yes.
because it's sort of a paradox, like how can you have the entire ocean in one drop? But again, it's a metaphor. So he's telling you that the whole realm, baby, all this is just energy, right? And if your energy, like, so if the electricity in my house is technically the same as the electricity in Sharon's house, because it all has to be connected somehow, right? Even through the ether, even if it's people like, it's on a different grid and they're gonna like, show me like put comment now. But it's that same kind of thing that if it's just all energy, then technically everybody is connected. And I think that that's what a lot of these Eastern religions are trying to tell us on some level. And again, like we said last week, maybe it's not the physical, because Sharon and I aren't actually touching on the physical, but in the spiritual and that energy from that viewpoint, from even the viewpoint of science, of modern. Oops, what was that? Oh, my phone. I'm so bad at dropping my phone. Even from the viewpoint of modern quantum mechanics, I think is what it is, right? We're all
Quantum physics or
quantum physics.
metaphysics or whatever all that stuff is.
We're all the same, man. We're all like in the same soup. We're all touching, and we just are able to have this miracle happen where we could experience it from a separate viewpoint. So Sharon has her unique worldview from lovely Arizona. I'm here in lovely
All the
Connecticut.
experiences I've had, and you have yours from all the
Yeah.
experiences.
So not only do we see physically out of like, do we see different things when we look out of our eyes, like different landscapes and stuff, but also just like Sharon said, all our life experiences have shaped our view too. So our view isn't just what we're seeing, but it's everything that we are. Really, is our worldview. I mean, it's not everything we are, but you know what I'm saying. We're more than just our worldview, people. But at the end of the day, take a shot, everybody. That's really what we are, is our experiences and what we can see and how we see it. I need contact lenses so I don't see as well. So it shapes how I see the world as well. And then also I'm 6'5", and I've been in the realm for 48 years and a few months. So all these things shape our worldview. And yeah, that's all. I
It
don't remember.
reminds me of a hologram. And what I think there was another thing, but that whole concept is like, right? A hologram is every piece contains the whole type of thing.
Yes. It's like a code, like DNA as well. And then the DNA just expresses. So right now in this physical, I contain everything because I'm part of it all, but I'm just expressing as Brandon. Thank God, like it's so amazing at that. So we were at that nursing home. To a funny story. Elizabeth and I went out to get the coffee. We left coffee in the car and grabbed some things. We came back in and she went to use the restroom, and I went into the room and there was this lady, and I would have guessed she was like, I would say that she looked really good for her 70s, maybe even 60. If somebody told me she was like late 50s, mid 60s, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that's cool. She was 91. That's what she said anyway. And she was walking around in a walker and she hit on me. It was so funny.
Oh my
Her
gosh.
back, I walked in and her back was to me. Everyone was kind of in a circle and they were sitting down and she was standing talking to them. And then she looked over. She's like, who's this?
She could be your grandma.
She's like, I might be 90, but I'm still a woman. It was so funny. Oh my God. So anyway, I have such a funny life, but I love going to nursing home or old folks homes and stuff. I like to bring cheer. So anywho, yeah, I forgot why I brought that up, but maybe because
The
because
coffee, you went back to get coffee. I
I
don't
think I
know.
was just talking about how awesome I am. Because I'm expressing that way because I am the universe, but I just get to express as Brandon. That's what it was. All right, so we're talking. Like, let's see, we could probably say hi to people in the chat, and then we can get
Yeah,
into the
10 people in the chat on 1010.
Wow, that's at fourth 10. I love it. What's up, Tony? What's up, Cody? Spoons. What's up, Just Soon? Yeah, those cars, right? Blue Kachina, welcome back. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out, tagging me and funny stuff. He tags me on Telegram and funny things. I think he said something about if he had a Twitter handle, it'd be Brandon Bonanza. I was like, yes, you should do that. Because I don't think my Twitter handle is Brandon Bonanza. I think it's I haven't used it in forever, but I think it's Brandon Smith 203 or something like that. Maybe I changed it. I don't
Oh,
remember. I
change it.
rebranded. Ooh, what's up? Oh, I thought I saw something. Never mind. Oh, Sarah G. Welcome, Sarah. Happy 10-10. Getting all
Yes.
tens today. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
10
still
of
10 people in the
wands.
chat. Wow, that's great. We have an
Sweet.
excellent connection according to YouTube. All right.
Fantastic.
Going on for
Smashing.
20 minutes. So
That's
good
2
enough.
times 10.
Yeah, 2 times 10. That's some good banter time. So let's go. Boom. Oh, come on. I thought I had it right on the 58 and 59, right? Yeah, well, I must have scrolled a little. I had it there, everybody. I promise. Okay. So if you're new to the Over Sharon show, thank you so much for hanging out and tuning in. We are covering the Tao, and this is our Tao Te Ching series. It's not something we do every week, but it is a consistently running series. We usually cover 2 verses, and we have 4 different verses, 4 different versions of each verse, translations, if you will. So we start off by reading each version, and I'm going to start off with the Stephen Mitchell version from 1988, verse 58. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. Try to make people happy, and you lay the groundwork for misery. Try to make people moral, and you lay the groundwork for vice. I love that. You can't tell anyone what to do. All right, I'll stop. We're going to break it down after, everybody. Don't worry. Thus, the master is content to serve as an example and not to impose her will. She is pointed, but doesn't pierce, straightforward, but supple, radiant, but easy on the eyes.
Aw. Dwight Goddard calls this a adaptation to change. I was going to say adapt adaptation to change. When an administration is unostentatious, the people are simple. When an administration is inquisitive, the people are needy. Misery, alas, supports happiness. Happiness, alas, conceals misery. Who knows its limits? It never ceases. The normal becomes the abnormal. The good in turn becomes unlucky. The people's confusion is felt daily for a long time. Therefore, the wise man is square, yet does not injure. He is angular, but does not annoy. He is upright, but is not cross. He is bright, but not glaring. I love that. Bright, but not glaring.
Yeah, a lot of sacred geometry in there too. Like I wonder if he was a Mason. All right. Oh, Stan Rosenthal. We'll get into that more, but everybody, don't worry. We can even Google it, I guess. Stan Rosenthal from 1984 entitles this verse Transformations According to Circumstances. When the hand of the ruler is light, the people do not contrive. But when the country is severely ruled, the people grow in cunning. The actions of the sage are sharp, but they are never cutting. They are pointed, though never piercing. They are straightforward, not contrived, and not without restraint, brilliant, but not blinding. This is the action of the sage, because he is aware that where happiness exists, there is also misery and strife. That where the honesty may be found, there is an occasion for dishonesty, and that men may be beguiled, and for dishonesty, and that men may be beguiled. The sage knows that no one can foretell just what the future holds. Oh, I love that. That's right. No future
Nice.
fortune telling here.
Hmm. Let's see. Aleister Crowley calls this, like he says, adaptation as well. Like Dwight Goddard.
Nice.
Adaptation to environment. The government that exerciseth the least care serveth the people best. That which meddleth with everybody's business worketh all manner of harm. Sorrow and joy are bedfellows. Who can divine the final result of either? Shall we avoid restriction? Yea, restriction distorteth nature, so that even what seemeth good in it is evil. For how long have men suffered from misunderstanding of this? The
Too
wise
long.
man,
So,
the wise man is foursquare and avoideth aggression. His corners do not injure others. He moveth in a straight line and turneth not aside therefrom. He is brilliant, but doth not blind with his brightness.
I love it.
Yes. What's
So
the second
I'm feeling a
breakdown?
lot of themes from maybe it was not those who know don't talk, but the one before that, maybe, or even feeling vibes from the verses last week, because I think there was like governance or talking about countries and governing countries. And there seems to be a few verses about that here and there in the Tao.
Yeah,
And
indeed.
also, I just took a sip of my coconut water, and guess when it expires? 2
Tip.
July 2025 on my born day.
You're that
Maybe
is
it's the day was
crazy.
your born day. Let me see if I could without spilling it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I should be able to. This is crazy. Oh, I'm already pinned. All right. Yeah. I'm really bad at Zoom right now. All right, everybody, look at. Yeah, look, that's crazy.
2nd July 25. Wow.
All right, whatever that means. But no, I do like this verse. It seems to be because, like again, we said last week when they're talking about governing a country, how many of us are going to get a chance to govern a whole country? I mean, maybe not a lot of us, but all of us get a chance to govern our own inner world and our selves. So if you use that analogy, the as above, so below, these will pertain to you. And that's probably what he meant because I'm sure he knew. And, well, maybe originally this stuff was just really for rulers and nobility and stuff like that. They were the only ones to have these books. But now because of the internet, it's all
Everyone
ours.
has access.
And there's a million versions out there. So yeah.
Yes,
So
there are.
you have anything you want to say? You want to just get into the breakdown?
Yeah, let's get started.
Break it on down. All right. Let's get back up to here. So I think we should do it each by each paragraph or whatever. Probably good. If a country is governed with tolerance, the people are comfortable and honest. If a country is governed with repression, the people are depressed and crafty. So we have polarization going on here, right? Like, and he's letting you know what's going to be best. And I feel like, again, to use the lens or to flip it around or as above, so below, use it on yourself. This is what we talk about when we say to be easy on yourself and have tolerance and not judge yourself so harshly and beat yourself up and actually reward yourself for things, go easy. And this is encapsulating it perfectly. Because if you try to tell yourself what to do, it's going to be a struggle. And again, I'm not saying, we've beat this dead horse, so I won't talk about it too much, but it is just about doing it until you're done. And if you are trying to stop a habit or whatever, if you could see that you're perfect and you could trace that line of whatever that is that you do, whatever gets you out of the present moment in to evacuate your cockpit, right? To have something else or some other kind of force or vibration take over, and then you just end up in front of the refrigerator, or you just end up with that cigarette in your mouth or whatever it is, or biting your nail. It's about being okay with that and then letting it go and accepting it and that stuff. And that seems to us to be an easier way out of this whole cycle of addiction or whatever you want to call it, or being stuck in certain cycles.
Yeah,
And it's right there. Go ahead though.
it's very much about the present moment, because if you're just doing it out of a habit, then you're not in the present moment. And we've talked about it before, but one just simple example of this is like the garage thing, like leaving and like thinking like halfway down the street, did I close the garage? Well, if you are in the present moment, you notice that you closed it, you look, you make sure it's closed, and then you leave. I had to do this for myself because I would I would spend too many times like halfway down the street going, did I close the garage? So I had to tell myself, okay, be be whatever that word is. Forgot what word I'm looking for, but anyway, like I had to go ahead. Do you, if you have a word?
I was going to say short attention span. I'll call back
Yeah,
from
I
last
know. Yeah,
no, from last week.
exactly. um I had to like tell myself, okay, don't leave until the garage is down, and you wait like 3 seconds or something. And then you'll know that every time you leave, you've done that. Then you'll always be like, I closed it. I know I closed it because I don't ever leave without noticing that it's been shut for 3 seconds or whatever it is you decide to do. But yeah, I've had to do that recently with our new fridge because, and
Oh.
it still doesn't, it's ridiculous. But there's this little glitch with the left door for whatever dumb reason. The way I let it go, it thinks it's not closed. It is closed, but it has this, the sensor must be off. So like I could push the door and then because it'll tell me doors open, right? The little screen will say doors open. But if I just push it gently, it's like, oh, okay, acknowledges it's closed. But the thing won't tell you for like 5 minutes. It won't start beeping till after 5 minutes. So like I could have walked away and I'll be in the bedroom or the office or whatever, and I'll hear the beep and I'll be like, dang it, I didn't close it right for whatever dumb reason. So I'm trying to be present, and when I close it, I have to be like, okay, close it, make sure make sure the light doesn't come on that says the door's still open. But yeah, that's me having to be in the present moment for that and not also like opening the garage, opening the fridge is like, now I have to be in the present moment. I can't just open it and be like, oh, what's in here? What can I snack on right now? And
Exactly.
just close it. It's gonna beep at me 5 minutes later.
You could make it like a thing where you high five the fridge when you close it. We're on your fridge, and then you like
Yeah.
high five, push it closed every time.
Yeah.
Good job, fridge. We did it. I don't know. That's
So
crazy.
that's
Yeah,
an
I would.
example.
I could see that being annoying because I would definitely forget about that because you always just let the fridge shut, right? And then
Yeah.
oh well it's
Doesn't really
yeah,
happen to Cody though. For whatever reason, he lets it close hard enough that it slams. But
yeah.
I never needed to slam my fridge door. So I just kind of let it close, and it doesn't feel like it closed enough. So it's
Maybe Cody
ridiculous.
used to have a fridge that wouldn't shut all the way because I know I've been in that situation. So I've been closed
Yeah.
doors or hey, you
Yeah.
never know. Cool.
So anyway,
um, oh yeah, that's right. We're so yeah, right in this first verse. Yeah, present moment though. Seriously, really, that's what it boils down to, I think. And I'll pull this back up. Uh, that's really how you're gonna start to overcome that stuff or break these cycles because you start to notice it and then you get sick of it. You're like, why am I doing this? And then you become disgusted and you're done, right? Or again, if you're easy on yourself, you could just laugh about it. If a country is governed with repression, oh yeah, okay, I read those two parts. When the will to power is in charge, the higher the ideas, the lower the results. So if all
ideals.
you're worried, the lower the oh yeah, the higher the ideals, the lower the results. So um what they're saying is it's not bad to have high ideals, right? And all this stuff, but when you're only concerned with power, that's really when it's the problem. And again, even in your own life, if you're only worried with power and you're out there trying to tote all these high ideals, but you're only worried about gaining power over other people and being the center of attention and all these things, it's just gonna sound fake. It's not gonna sound authentic if you have all these high ideals, yet people could see your behavior is not matching with it. All right, let's see. Um, try to make people happy and you lay the groundwork for misery. Another paradox. And it goes along again with that whole trying thing with Yoda. You can't try to do anything. So when you're trying to make people happy, it's like you're pandering to them. It means that you did something you don't want them to find out that would make them unhappy. So you're doing all these other things to make them happy, so they focus on that. Could it be? That's just one example.
I think of politicians.
That's exactly who
Look
I think
this
of too.
way. Look, don't look over here. Nothing to see here.
And if you are looking at it, carrying this theme with the Asbel Soblo and working on yourself, if you're trying to make yourself happy, you're not actually making yourself happy. You are doing things that you think are going to make you happy. But it's about just accepting yourself as perfect, because when you're trying to make yourself happy, you're not accepting the situation the way it is, right? And
Yeah.
so
And again, you're not living in the present moment. I was reading something about this. I'm like looking at so many books and people and all these. I don't remember. I think it was related to the reality transurfing stuff that Bootsy Greenwood talks about.
I love that idea.
Um, but I don't remember where or anything. But like if you were trying to make yourself happy, you're focusing on something that is in the future. Like, oh, if I have all this, then I'll be happy. If when I retire, I'll be happy. When I have a house on a hill, I'll be happy. When I have XYZ, I'll be happy. Instead of saying, can I be grateful for the stuff I have now and just be happy now? Like, can I do that? Why can't I do that? And I've had to do that for myself. Like again, preaching to the choir, preaching to myself. Because I don't need to have something in order to be grateful for what I have now. Like I can be happy now. Why not?
That's right. We're just in the choir singing to the preacher. We're singing to the preacher. He's preaching to the choir and we're singing to the preacher. Yeah, no, exactly what Sharon said. And if you break it down even further, or you just use the lens of like Buddhism or whatever, that kind of thing, it's like when you're trying to pleasure your senses, right? You're trying to get rid of your sense pleasures. What's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, when you're trying to do all that and you're chasing happiness, that's really what it means. I think what they're saying is when you try to make the people happy, then we flip it around on yourself when you try to make yourself happy. So you're like, oh, if I eat this, it'll be good. I'm gonna eat this, I'll be happy. I could drink, it'll be make me happy. Smoke this will make me happy. If I get this woman, if I get this car, all these things. And just like Sharon said, same thing. If you're just thankful about the present moment, I basically just resaid what she said, but just in the lens of like Buddhism. I'm not trying to be like it's my idea, but no, I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's like you are focused on the gratitude, really, like she said, and you see what's around you. And you don't have to worry so much about getting things, and then you realize things are perfect, and you're happy how they are, and then could it be that the bonuses or the blessings in your life multiply?
Exactly. Because when you don't have expectations, everything's a bonus. Everything's a blessing. Yesterday I took my mom to her physical therapy appointment and I was told that it might be her last appointment if she reached all the goals that they had for her. So, but I don't know. So I just was like, whatever happens, happens, right? So, we get done with the appointment. And he's like, yeah, this is the last one. And she reached all her goals and everything. And um it was great. Like I honestly didn't like when all this started and I started taking her to her physical therapy, I was like imagining months and months of endless therapy. You know what I mean?
I
Not
was
that I
thinking, yeah,
thought that was going to be the thing, but I didn't have a like, oh, this needs to happen now. She needs to hurry up. And, it was just like, you know what? I don't know how long this is going to take. It could take months. I don't know. So, like, the fact that it took like probably, I'm going to say less than 3 months from the time she started until now that she's back to having pretty much full range of motion that she had before. she still has a little bit of pain, but you know, she does her exercises every day and multiple times sometimes. And the therapist is like, I mean, you can tell when somebody does their homework and goes and does their exercises, they recover much more quickly than the people who don't. He's like, so he's like, she's just chugging along. Uh she's doing great. So I mean, that was a bonus and a blessing because I was not expecting it to be so quickly, to happen so quickly, and it did. Um, so
Amazing. And that's exactly, you weren't, like you said, you weren't like, oh, I got to bring her every week and this is going to be, time out of my day. And then before you knew it,
yeah,
it was
it
over.
just yeah,
You
yeah,
just did your work until it was done, right? And you're not
yeah,
going around like, look what I did for my mom, aren't I great? Like you're just like, I just did it, like
yeah. I mean, it wasn't a big deal for me. If I could do that for her, and she was very grateful for it. She just kept thanking me for having taken times out of my day to take her. So,
amazing. Yeah, I mean, we can all tell your mom's amazing because look at how you turned out. I mean, come on.
oh, thank you.
All right, everybody, I'm gonna pop this back up. So making the people happy, we covered that. Try to make the people moral. It's the same thing. You know, you're trying to tell everybody this is what you must do. You have to follow these 10 commandments, and it's going to be the one thing they don't want to do, like, or they're going to want to, it's like you can't eat this apple. And then,
Yeah. And then what happens?
so same thing with yourself when you're working on yourself or whatever it is. And, you know, uh, you set these
Preach to
strict rules.
yourself.
I'm not saying it can't work. Like you could definitely set strict rules for yourself and be like a drill instructor to yourself. But are you really going to be happy then? That's so there's so many paths, and this is just Lao Tzu's path, like he's just saying, hey,
Mm-hmm.
listen, just don't be
Make
so
it
have
make it a
such a
little
strict
easier on
moral.
yourself.
Yeah, don't have such a strict moral. Not that you shouldn't have a strict moral code, everybody, but don't beat yourself up so hard about it when you perceive yourself to like go beyond it or whatever, right? It's like you'll know because that all that stuff is really like ego. It's more of so so we'll just say the intuition versus the ego. It's like the angel versus the devil, right? You see that in cartoons, and sometimes in these cartoons they shake hands and they get along. And I was thinking about this the other day, it blew my mind because that's like a little symbolism for people for self-work, right? Look at this guy had this cartoon, like Bugs Bunny or whoever, or Sylvester the cat got his angel and his demon to shake hands. Can't you do that? um but yeah, I think it's more about that stuff. It's more about being easier on yourself, or following your intuition. That's where I was going. So following your intuition, and when you're trying so hard with your ego or whatever it is that you're not really listening to the feeling. Whenever you're using your mind, your air, right? You don't feel the water when there's too much air. It blows it away. You have to have that kind of mixture. Think of steam, right? Like boiling water, let it simmer. And it's just like a balance. Same thing. It's same thing that Tao always goes back to, really, a balance.
The middle path
Yeah.
and a balance.
Middle path. All right.
Are
You
we
want to,
ready for Dwight
yeah,
Goddard?
I think so. Here, I'll just highlight the whole thing for now. So we're going to break down this part, everybody.
All right. So adaptation to change. When an administration is unostentatious, and I looked up this word so that I could have some definitions, but the word ostentatious is the word that I found. So it's not this. So unostentatious, unostentatious is to be not characterized by or given to pretentious or conspicuous show in an attempt to impress others. So you're not to be unostentatious is to not be pretentious and not try to be impressive to others,
Oh, I like that.
or not intending to attract notice. So that's what that is. Okay. When an administration is ostentatious, the people are simple. When an administration is inquisitive, the people are needy.
I like
Wow.
that.
Can you speak to that?
Well, I would say, what kind of administration do you think the United States government is, an unostentatious one or an inquisitive one? Like, so inquisitive is like they always have questions for you, like, hey, what are you doing with all those plants in your backyard? Like that's like, hey, why didn't you pay your taxes? They have all these questions, but when they're unostentatious, and so that makes the people needy. It makes the people dependent on the government because the government is making you dependent on them by enforcing all these laws and stuff like that. And we talk
Could it
about,
be?
could it be? Yes, there you go, because there are other ways to look at it. So I guess I shouldn't say you, but I could say it this way. I could say it could be said that the American government is making a bunch of people dependent on them because of other laws. So but again, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. I think it's what needs to happen, because if everything was easy, we'd never learn lessons. We'd just sit around all day and eat raw honey.
We're in the Kali Yuga, I would say. So we're
Yeah.
in that. What is that game mode that you talk about?
Yeah, we're on expert level, but in Halo it's called legendary mode. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
legendary.
Expert level and legendary mode. That's what we're in right now. So things are gonna be like, not simple.
They're gonna pop
Well,
off.
not super simple, I should say.
Yes,
They're
well,
simple
they
in
will.
concepts,
Yes, or
in theory.
they might appear super complicated, but again, remember, it's all about our worldviews and what you're focused on. If you're focused on what you're grateful for and stuff. So,
Indeed.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna bring this back up. Lovely, lovely. Yeah, this is a great verse.
All right. So I was going to say misery loves company. No, he says, misery, alas, supports happiness. Happiness, alas, conceals misery. Okay. This is another paradox thing that I'm going to need your help with, because sometimes my brain
This
tries
one is
to.
much easier. Yeah, no, I hear you. The first part of this is really where it's more confusing. Misery, alas, supports happiness. But if you look at the last one, happiness, alas, it was me, everybody. I just made everyone yawn. Happiness conceals
Yes, I'm
misery. Yeah.
I'm blocking it.
Yawns conceal dried eyes. All right. I like when I yawn, it waters my contacts. So you could see that people that put on a false persona, a mask, and they just smile. No, everything is great. But inside, it's not great. So if you just look at the opposite of that, when everything appears to be crazy, there is a lot of happiness out there. So this speaks to
I
what I
like
tell
that.
people all the time, where it's like,
Mm.
hey, maybe the times are actually great. It's just that the media, could it be, for some reason, needs your attention because it is so great. So
Egregores.
so everything has to be like to the max. Like it's not like we're just going to the moon, but we're like taking dinosaurs to the moon because we just recreated them in a lab. And it's like
Yeah. And
they
we're going
need
to
our attention
repopulate the moon with
with
dinosaurs.
dinosaurs. Yeah, it's
No, Mars. We're going to
oh,
repopulate Mars with dinosaurs.
we're going to Pluto. We were so
And he looks like Pluto,
he looks
Disney's
like
Pluto.
Pluto. So I feel like if that's the case, then maybe, just maybe, it could be that this is a time where if you keep your attention to yourself and you focus where you want your attention to go, not toward these like lightning rods for attention, right? Like Donald Trump is a lightning rod for attention. I guess we could all say that, right? You could say that. That's a fair statement. So instead of putting your attention to them, you could use it and put it where you want it, and it grows. And if you put your attention toward what you're grateful for, it might grow. Could it be that it'll grow? Um, but I think that's really the best way to break down those two lines.
That was really insightful.
Thank you.
Misery, alas, supports happiness. Yeah, you hear about people in like countries that are allegedly like poor, in poverty or whatever, you still find people there like that are happy. They're
They,
just doing their thing, you know? But everyone else has this like view or this thing of like, oh, well, they should be living like this in some sort of quote civilized way. But what they are living is what they've known. And they don't know much else unless they're shown something else. And then perhaps then they're um made to feel less than or worse or bad, and then they're made to be like, oh well, maybe I should go to the US, or I should go to this like civilized quote civilized country because it's better there or whatever, right?
like Amish with their Rumspringa, right? They let the Amish go out when they get to a certain age. The younger ones can go out and experience the world for, whatever. I don't know how the
Just
rules
to
work
see,
exactly, but
yeah.
and some come back, some don't. It's the same, yeah. And I like what you said too. It's so true because I used to watch these documentaries all the time on like Discovery and stuff where these people would go live with indigenous people in like Africa or South America, and they just had a great time fishing, hanging out all day. Like they didn't have jobs.
Yeah.
They all worked together, and so I'm not saying obviously everyone has their own karma and their own path and life path and stuff, but it goes along with what the verse is saying exactly. It looks to us like they're misery, they're living in like huts and stuff, but they're
Yeah.
loving it. And if you put them in our society, they would probably go crazy unless they chose
Yeah.
to. But
Yeah. Something that made me think of I think it was Cody who sent me some Instagram, or I saw some Instagram where it was like why did it had this like beautiful panorama of like gorgeous Italian landscape, and like it was like, why did these Italians move to Jersey? Like why did the Italians from like back then move to, like like why did they leave that? Would it, and I'm like, yeah, why? It's gorgeous.
that's I've been in Italy. You know what? That's blowing my mind. That's why I'm laughing. It's so true. What the? Yeah. Well, propaganda, man, that mind control, that government or whatever, the grass is always greener. And this is a lesson for you. People left Italy to come here. Anyway,
Yeah.
good thing they did for
PK.
us because it made the food better. Oh, what's up? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Yeah, fantastic. Love the food. PK says, can you know happiness without knowing misery? Very true. Like this is a very good point. I didn't think of this at the moment, but
Thank
yes,
you,
we've
PK.
we've
Whoa.
talked about that before. That's what it makes me think of. Like you can only realize happiness once you've realized misery. Yes. Like you can't know one without the other.
It's like light and dark. What's light without dark? Light defines, what there's a verse in the Tao. It's like, hot and cold define each other, up and down, like describe each other kind of thing. It's like it's a scale, right? How you
Indeed.
feel is a scale, happiness, sadness. It's but if
Yeah.
you
And
try
then go ahead.
but if you try to make yourself happy by pleasuring your senses, it always ends up hollow and empty at the end. Let me tell you from experience, everybody. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and I was gonna just say, and we probably said this before, but the word happiness is different than the word contentment, because I find like contentment is being happy, quote, being happy, but like being grateful for your situation as it is. And that is, I would say that's what quote true happiness really is the gratitude, is being grateful. It's contentment. Whereas
The
happiness
balance,
for
the
the sake of happiness
balance.
is like just like, oh, I need to feel this like euphoric, like happy feeling because of XYZ. I'll get this new XYZ. I'll have this. And then everything's gonna be the better, and everything's gonna change, and everything's gonna be great. And why can't it be great now?
Yep.
What
But
is
then
great
your
now?
Amazon, then your Amazon package is delayed, and then it doesn't even come for like a week because once it gets delayed, it's like they fucking forget about it. You ever notice that? You ever
Mm.
happen to you? It's
Yes.
like 2-day delivery, but if it gets delayed, it's like, nah, just
It's like,
reorder
oh,
it.
it
But
never arrives. Oh, sorry about that.
we didn't get your 2 days, so we're just gonna let it. But anyway, so but then your package doesn't come and it ruins your whole day or whatever. Or something, you're gonna go out to eat and you're excited it's your favorite restaurant and you're gonna get your favorite dish and you get there and they just sold out of it. And you know, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna be pissed off about it? Or are you gonna be like, all right, let's see what else is on the
This is
menu?
an opportunity to try something new that
And
you
what
might
Sharon was
like.
saying about the whole happiness thing, it's really like the contentness is so true because again, it's another balance. And you're not on this roller coaster. You're not like if you have a job that you do or whatever. I'm trying to think of different examples, but if whenever say you go somewhere to eat the same place, like if you go there constantly to eat one time, the food's not as good or it's different or whatever, if you have a bad experience, you don't have to freak out about it. Like you don't have to focus on that, just that one thing. You just roll with it. And what am I thankful for in this? Oh, I'm able to tell this guy I want food and he just brings it to me and it's prepared and I could just eat it. That's a miracle. If you went back to somebody in like middle ages, and you're like, how are you going to eat tonight? They're like, well, I got to go up back and kill and skin a chicken, or I got to grow this food or whatever it is. Like,
I got to start a
so
fire and find a pot. And
yeah, I got, I got to find water that I could drink. This fox pissed in all the water, man. So yeah, I mean that's all we're talking about, everybody. I think that's what Lao Tzu's trying to say. It's about being the same in disgrace and dishonor, honor and disgrace, right? All right. I like this though, but you're reading, so I'll let you go.
yeah. All right. So who knows its limits? It never ceases. The normal becomes the abnormal. The good in turn becomes unlucky. The people's confusion is felt daily for a long time. I don't know what you mean. Who knows what's limits? Happiness, misery?
Yeah, who knows its limits? Misery supports happiness. Happiness conceals misery. Who knows its limits? It never ceases. I would probably say the misery.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the normal becomes the abnormal. So basically, everything just becomes inverted.
Mm,
And that's what they're
mm-hmm.
saying. Like, there is no
Mm.
inversion. Like, people get confused because they think the leader has to be somebody who's like espousing all this happiness, or even on the self work level, right? People may get confused and think that they got to have all these happy thoughts all the time and everything's got to be happy and I got to make myself happy. So that means I got to do what I want to do, and everything I want to do, I got to do it or else I can't be happy.
Yeah, or the new age flip of like making everything positive, like only positive this, only positive that. Yes and no, right? Like there's a it's nuanced.
That sounds like they're taking a spiritual concept and trying to shove it into the physical, right? They're
Mm.
trying to take this
Mm-hmm.
thing of, oh yeah, the world's perfect, so you could just sit home all day. No, that's the physical. Like, it's fine. It is perfect. I guess you could say on one level if you do just sit home all day, but that's where the concepts get mixed and
Yeah. And
misunderstood. Yes.
if there is a moment when you are just sitting at home, because there are times in your life when things just happen and you're either
Yeah.
clearing out emotions or you're healing something, and God gives you this moment to just sit. That's You can be grateful for that too, because that could be a blessing for you if you allow yourself to experience it.
100%. Yeah, I just meant like sit home all day every day doing
Oh yeah,
nothing.
yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, that too. I get it.
For the viewers too. Yeah.
Yes.
There we go. My lovely birthday or born day drink. That's hilarious.
I was gonna say
And
get.
then
I thought you were when you said guess when it expired. I thought you were gonna say guess when it expired, and I was gonna say yesterday.
yeah, that would have been it's still good though. Um so
Shall we
where
do
were
the
we?
next verse, or were we, or was there still? Oh, something
Well, it says
about
the good in turn becomes unlucky. So that's still it's just showing this inversion
another
that people's
inversion.
confusion is felt daily for a long time. Yeah. And I feel like that's what's going on right now. So And again, not that there's anything wrong with it. We don't have to be victims, but we're taking a temperature gauge, right? We're like, all right, this is how Lao Tzu would say. He would say, this is what's going on, you know? So you get here, I'll even pull this up. So you get to the end of this first half of the verse, right? The people's confusion is felt daily for a long time. So if you're reading through the Tao and you notice that the people's confusion is pretty strong out there and we've been feeling it for a long time, then you could see why. It just means that the administrator is inquisitive, you know, and it makes the people are needy. And then this is what's going on. Doesn't mean you have to be a victim of it. You could just say objectively, be like, all right, this is what's going on. I don't have to be a victim, and I'm going to be grateful for the things in my life. All right. So Stan Rosenthal, the first part, transformations according to circumstances. So this is pretty much the same. I think that when the hand of the ruler is light, the people do not contrive. But when the country is severely ruled, the people grow in cunning. And I think severely ruled, you know, it's kind of like how what's going on right now, or even harder times, think like Soviet Russia when they're just lining people up, right? So even though we might say it's the Kali Yuga and it's terrible, it could be worse, everybody.
It can always be a little worse
They
too,
were
or
lining
even
people up.
more.
So I don't know if that's ever going to be able to happen in this country. There's too many guns. No one's going to be able to line anyone up. Like someone will come in to save the day. So, yep. Okay. The actions of the sage are sharp, but they are never cutting. So I like that. It's a great analogy. So you could be sharp, but you don't want to hurt people. You don't want to cut. Remember, you don't know. If you're coming from the standpoint of you don't know, you can still be sharp. You could still be witty, but you don't have to use that wit and sharpness, Brandon, I'm talking to myself, to make people feel bad about themselves in traffic. You don't got to do it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's pretty straightforward. But did you have anything you want to say about those things so far?
Yeah. I think last week's episode said something about your your edges are sharp or something like that, and you can like
Dull your
so,
edges,
yeah, soften or dull your edges. So it made me reminded me of that verse as well.
untie your knots. I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about that this week. It's so I love doing these verses because they stick with me, and then I'm able to try to incorporate them better in my life. And I'm just like, untie your knots. And then my pants fell down. I was like, damn it, no. My swim trunks fell down. All right. Busy time. And then I didn't let me bring it back up. So we just have one little part left of this. Um they are straightforward, not contrived.
Did you say they are pointed though never piercing?
Oh no, I don't. You're right. They are pointed, though never piercing. Same kind of thing that we just talked about. They are straightforward, not contrived, and not without restraint. Brilliant, but not blinding. So, not without restraint means that they're not restraining themselves. Let's see, not without restraint. So they have restraint,
Yeah,
right?
I see. I have to
Double
do
negative.
that too.
Without restraint would mean not without. So okay, so they have restraint. Yes. And so basically they're just giving a bunch of attributes of a good ruler, I'm sorry, of a sage after they talked about the ruler. And then brilliant but not blinding, which I love also because you
I
think of
think we
brilliance,
talked to
it's like,
something like that about last episode, I think. Because didn't I say something about the sun being like so bright?
yeah, exactly. And this is more about a balance again. What a what a surprise, right? It's
Hmm.
you're brilliant, but you're not overshining. You're not taking over the podcast, and you're not the only one talking, right? Like you see some shows like that where there's one person, they're just talking over the other person or whatever. It's a good balance. Same thing within. You have this balance within. It's not too much masculine, too much feminine. You find your balance, what works for you. And so you're not repressing because when you're not balanced, that means you're repressing one area of your life or maybe many areas of your life, at least one.
Yes, indeed.
Yep.
Shall
All
I
right.
read? And
Yeah.
one thing I'll note is that Stan Rosenthal is the only one I think who did this whole brilliant but not blinding at the end of that first half. But everyone else I think does it at the end, at the very end of the verse. So I don't know. He must have just like
Oh,
kind of changed that around for
probably try
whatever
to
reason.
make it more
It kind of worked out for him to like bring it up in a different place in the verse. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know Chinese. I don't know how I don't know how it works, but or whatever language this was written in.
yeah.
Some ancient
Tartary
form of Chinese or something.
Tartaries. No.
Yeah.
Tartary, no. All right.
Tartarian truth.
Before we um adaptation. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're reading Aleister Crowley. What am I thinking?
No worries. Adaptation to environment. This is verse 58. All right. The government that, and I'm going to read without the F's, so I'm going to read it kind of in modern English here. The government that exercises the least care serves the people best. That which meddles with everybody's business works all manner of harm.
Love it.
Yeah, fantastic.
Right. There's really not much to say about it. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love it. Everybody's business. All right. Sorrow and joy are bedfellows. You can't have one without the other, right? You have
Yeah,
to
you nailed it, Sharon.
you have to know, like PK said in the chat, you have to know one to know the other. Like you have to experience one to know the other.
I like pleasure spiked with pain because music is my aeroplane. That's the one, pleasure spiked with pain. It's that's how it is.
Yeah.
There is no hot without cold.
And they're on a spectrum, right?
Yeah, it's all just what is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're just describing what is. And then from that description, you can either get mad about it, sad about it, or accept it, or we're happy about it and elated about it. But the acceptance, I think, is the middle way. And then we're not saying you can't be happy and excited and all that stuff. It's not what we're saying. It's just that, are you
Don't
living
be
for that
attached.
happiness?
Yeah.
Bingo. Are you living for that happiness? Are you living for that excitement? Is that what you need to get out of bed?
And if you do for a while, that's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing
Because
wrong with it.
you're just, all you're really doing is, and what we're describing is a cycle that you're stuck in, if this is pertains to you, or that we're stuck in. So you got to feel the cage and realize there's a cage to break out of it, right? Like in um um the movie, Jim Carrey movie, where he's Truman Show. He had to realize in the Truman Show that he was on this
He was
TV
in this
show
fake
set.
dome.
You got to before he can leave, because before that he was trying everything else. He was trying to get out. He was trying to get out in the context of that dome,
Like
like
just
still
the island or
pretending.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he was still pretending it was all real. So he was trying to fly away and go on vacation to Fiji or whatever, all
Yeah.
this stuff, when that was never real. He had to step out. So it's like what happens when you open up to truth. A lot of times you have cognitive dissonance. You're not really getting it, what's going on. And then once it does, that's like it is. It's like him opening the door to the dome and bowing and walking out. That's exactly. Rewatch that movie again, everybody. It's a good one.
Yeah. I watched it for the first time like a couple years ago, maybe.
Yeah, it hits different every time, especially when you have a lot of different. It's like the Matrix, like, because it is really about somebody who's in this prison that they can't see. It's a blind spot, like we talk about all the time, right? They don't even realize, like Neo, he didn't even know he was in a computer program. He was trying to be an outlaw and escape the system that was in the Matrix, right? He was trying to escape the government in the Matrix, which is all fake. And then he had to realize to wake up. Same thing with Truman in the door openings. So there's a lot of different stages and a lot of things that we go through. And if you're easier on yourself, it's like a cheat code, because then you don't get so mad at yourself for falling for things. Like, why did I do that? Or, why did I shave my head and join the Marines? No, that was great. I'm glad I did that. I'm not even being sarcastic. That was a really was telling a bunch of old stories the other night. It was a lot of fun. Okay, so
Yeah.
Sorrow and
So
Joy of
suffers
Bedfellows. There it is.
who can divine the final result of either? Shall we avoid restriction? I think it's pronounced yea, Y-E-A.
Oh yeah.
Restriction distorts nature so that even what seems good in it is evil. Well, I think we can break that down for a second.
Yeah. So okay, so before we were talking about how restrictions or being able to not restrictions, but being able to, with a good ruler having restraint. That's the R word, right? But see, restriction is a little different because especially if you're restricting the people, if you're going to look at this in the lens that we've been talking about the whole podcast about working on yourself, if you set these hardcore restrictions for yourself, it's like telling a kid to not eat, telling Adam and Eve to not eat the apple kind of thing. So if you set these hard restrictions, I'm trying to look at what he said. Yes, the restrictions distorteth nature. So it's not in line with nature. Nature doesn't have these restrictions. It
The
just,
tree grows where it grows. It reaches out for the whatever and it just keeps going. The roots go down and find water. The branches go outward. It's not restricting itself. Unless
that's
there's
right.
like a wall next to it, then it has to kind of, branch away from it or something. But it
Exactly.
just still keeps going.
But if you, and so if you think of people, they're just part of nature. We're just one step higher in consciousness evolution, maybe than the animals. Like that's how we see it, right? Maybe the whales have something different to say.
The dolphins.
But yeah, yeah,
So
dolphins.
long and thanks for all the fish.
Flipper.
Hitchhiker's
They
Guide to the
call it
Galaxy, my
Flipper.
favorite movie,
Oh yeah, I gotta
or at
watch that
least one.
again. There's a Flipper movie about dolphins, but so people, if they're just nature, it's like if you take a wild animal and you try to cage it, right? What happens? Domestication. We are domesticated. It goes along with all that Fifth Agreement, Don Miguel Ruiz, all his stuff about the domestication. And again, there's nothing wrong with it. If we live in houses and societies, we don't have to live like the natives, but to realize that, um, because I think the driving force of most of this is just in our heads. We're doing it to ourselves. I was saying this to Elizabeth yesterday. I'm like, I'm fully open to the possibility that is no like Illuminati or like anyone behind the scenes planning any of this. It could just be manifesting this way because that's how human behavior works. To us, it appears organized like a computer, but it's because we're perceiving it through our brain, which is set up like a computer. I mean, a computer is modeled off our brain. So
It
that's
could be
why I think
egregores that have made
yeah,
all
that's
these.
exactly what I'm talking about. Sharon, you're killing it. Egregores out there, right? That's another way to say it. And people call them demons and all these things. But if that's the whole case, I forget why I was bringing up egregores and all this stuff. What were we talking about again?
You were talking
But
about restriction and restraint, maybe?
oh yeah, restrict to the people. Yeah. So if you restrict the people, but it's like a cycle. So I think that's kind of why society is the way it is. We're in a prison of our own making that we can't see. But the good news is you could step out of it at any time and you could live right next door to a cop and have a great time. Like you don't have to extricate yourself from the actual society. It's more about
Yes.
extricating your mind and then trusting the plan as you go. And then maybe, hey,
Yeah.
you get signs that you should move out to the woods in the middle of nowhere and you do, or,
Yes. Dude, that's so
but
crazy.
you're
I
not
was
doing it
just
out of
thinking
fear.
about that this freaking morning. Oh my God. Like, so the whole concept of the grass isn't always greener on the other side, right? So you can be content with where you are. You don't have to feel like you have to escape anything. I mean, if you feel that you want to or need to, whatever, yeah, do it. But the idea is that you don't have to feel that way because the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side.
It goes back to, like you said, the present moment. I feel like if you're more in the present moment, then you can read the signs if you should get out or not,
Yes.
or what you
Yes.
should do. In this way, you're not doing it because it's a fear-based thing, because you heard somebody talking about that there's not going to be groceries in the grocery store tomorrow, which I've been hearing for 25 years now, that there's something's gonna happen. There's a
Yeah.
weak chain at
Dude,
the grocery store.
I've
I'm
been
hearing this
thinking
this
that the
Y2K.
last couple weeks. Like, I've heard
Are they
this
saying it
before.
again? I'm
I've
just
heard this before. Like, just it's like the stuff that I heard 4 years ago, five, whatever, 4-ish years ago. I'm hearing it again. And it's like, well, we were fine 4 years ago. No, we're gonna be fine. Everything's
it's
gonna be okay.
wasn't there an election 4 years ago too? Whoa, it's so crazy that this all happens during an election year. But you know what? Maybe it'll happen. Maybe one day there'll be no groceries on the shelves. But I'm not gonna worry. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go with it. Like
Yeah.
Sharon, we talked about this before. We talked about this earlier too, and this is some early oversharing stuff we're bringing back up where we're like, we'll just live off the light if that's what God ordains for
Yeah.
us. Like we're not
Yeah.
worried.
And if we're meant to go that way, that's how we were meant to go.
Because if God takes away the food, I'm like, all right, God, I guess that means we're living on the light now. Okay. And then I'll be
Yeah.
fine. Like that's how I'm
Yeah.
going to perceive it. So it's fine.
Right.
I
The
guess
other
I'm
thing
just a
that,
flower now.
yeah,
I'm a flower with feet. All right, I'm done. Go ahead.
the other thing it made me think of was how Jesus said, like, you're in this world, but you're not of it. Like, be in it, like live in it, but but in yourself, you're know that you are not of it. Like, so you don't have to like feel like everything that's going on is like, oh my God, um, you're here. And yeah, the people around you might be freaking out, but you can be that balance. You can be that state of great gratitude and contentment around, in a place where everything's going nuts.
And again, and this is something we always say. So I know, yeah. I know Sharon's gonna. I don't know what I'm doing. Sharon's gonna agree with me. I'm just excited because I get to bring up something I used to say all the time. But okay, so worst case scenario is you get in a crazy situation and you die, and that's gonna happen anyway. We're all gonna exit this realm somehow, or maybe we don't even exit it. Who knows what actually happens, right? But it reminds me of something I used to say because I would tell people how I would go swimming in the ocean a lot, and they were like, "Aren't you worried about sharks?" And I'm like, I'm like, yeah, but at least if you die by a shark attack, it's like a cool way to die, like, because I'm like, what are you gonna die in a car accident like everyone else? Like it's at least it's a cool, unique way. Like it's what a
Story.
badass. You got eaten by a fucking shark, like so there's that. So just it's about being in the present moment again. It comes back to that. And then you realize if you're acting out of fear or not. Is it that internal feeling, or is it the fear inside the ego, or is it like a mixture of both? You can balance them, and then maybe your intuition is just a little too crazy, and then you got to like tone it back and be like, all right, maybe I can take steps. But that's all up to you, and this is why again we're preaching to the choir or we're singing to the preacher.
Yeah. The other thing it makes me think of is this other concept, this other biblical concept that I can't remember who said it. Maybe it was Jesus, maybe it was the Apostle Paul, but something about like if you're in a situation, like a dire situation, or whatever, that you don't know how you're going to act or react or whatever. Um, you can trust that. Oh, you can always go back to that deep inner trust. And these are my paraphrasings of it, but you can go back to that inner trust in nature and God and the universe or whatever you want to call it, that a way will be provided for you. Like you can just be like, God, I don't know what I would do in such a situation, right? But I trust that you will provide a way for me to either go through that or get out of it or whatever. But a way will be provided and I'll be okay. Everything's going to be okay. Right. And then you don't have to worry because you just trust. You trust the plan. You trust God, that God's going to guide you and that perhaps that thing, whatever it was, happened for a reason, a good reason
Exactly, a
for
great
your
reason.
growth.
And then to take it one step further, or to look at the other side of the token, there's also a balance there because, and this is kind of what cuts the new age stuff out. So there is some kind of like action required. It is the doing, not doing, but It reminds me of the Bible story of when Jesus was tempted and when the devil was allegedly said to him, why don't you could just jump off this thing and God will save you. You could just jump off this building. It's fine. He'll save you. And I think that's like the new age way, right? Like, oh yeah, I could just jump off and God will make me fly. So there is, you could go
It's
too far one
nuanced.
way, right?
Right.
It's nuanced. So I just wanted to
Yes.
bring up a Bible story because you were so cool bringing it up. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's really what it reminded me of. But I don't think anyone that listens to this show has to worry about it. I just wanted to be cool.
Yeah, no worries. Um,
uh, yeah, no, we're the choir singing to the preacher. So,
where
all
were
right.
we?
We were talking about distorting nature, and that brought us on that
Okay, there we go.
whole
Yes.
thing. And
Yes.
then to wrap that up, right? So that even what seemeth good in it is evil. So that goes back to what we were talking about too. So it's like that facade people put up to when they pretend they're happy or when they pretend they're good. Like an evil person doesn't go around and they're not like, I'm gonna rip these people off. They're like, hi, they're nice to you. Like
Yeah,
it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. There you go. Boom.
right. Like I've heard people say like the path that's labeled, the way is just it's labeled the way because it's not going to tell you it's the devil's way, you know what I mean? Or it's the evil way. It's going to be like, no, this is the way, dude. This is the path.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions because there is no road to heaven. That's your mistake. You were looking for a road, man. Whoa.
Did
There's
we
no
read a
road.
quote about the road was it
There-
last week
yeah. Oh,
or
I'd have to look
something? Somewhere,
at it, but
somewhere
there
these
is no
days.
road. That's
The path
a
before
way
you
to
is
get a
clear.
take
You're
on.
probably on someone else's. Carl Jung. That was 2 episodes ago.
Yeah, if the path before exactly because there is no path to heaven. You're there or you're not there, right? You're either there or you're not. So if you're on a path, like if you perceive yourself to be on this road, you're probably on the road to hell. Oh, all right. I like that though. I'm gonna have to somebody clip that. No. All right. We need our slaves to work harder. Wait, no. Uh, so where were we? How long have no wait, where were we again? Shall we avoid restriction?
Yeah. Okay. So for how long? I think I didn't. I don't think I finished reading that part.
Oh, okay.
For
Yes,
how
there we go.
long have men suffered from misunderstanding of this?
A long time, Aleister.
Mm. Crowley.
Crowley.
Yeah. So, so
I mean, yeah, we shouldn't hear that's very. I like how he ended. He doesn't. He ends just that first section. It's a really nice touch. It's a good question, right? For how long? It's a good thing
yeah.
to ponder. All right. So we're gonna go to the second part now. Thus, the master is content to serve as an example and not to impose her will. She is pointed but doesn't pierce, straightforward but supple, radiant but easy on the eyes. So I
See,
think,
I think Stan Rosenthal said it at the beginning. He did a lot
yeah,
of that. So I think he kind of maybe swapped a little. But go ahead. It's we he said some of the stuff like this before.
yeah, no, I think that we pretty much covered it. So I don't want to like it to, you're
Yeah.
right. What we said about that pretty much covers it. I'd like to see though how it compares to the other second halves of the other
Yeah.
verses too, though.
I like though how he says uh the master's content to serve as an example. That's cool.
Yeah,
And
that
does not
actually that's
impose her
huge,
will.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you had like certain, so say we had the oversharing tenants, we had the oversharing tenants. We could.
Oh. Is my internet down again?
Example. That's like you could put that in a fortune
Oh.
cookie, like, or you could say the wise man, obviously, because if you just put the master, people get all confused and get mad. But yeah.
All right. So you had frozen for a second and then everything
Oh,
you
all
said
right.
was just like really fast, but that's cool.
But did it come through?
I think so. just
Okay.
really, really,
Fortune
just like
cookie, basically,
really
that you
fast.
all right. Yeah, it said something on it. It said unstable. I don't know. It's getting windy out there. I don't know if that means anything.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
So she doesn't impose her will. I like
Yeah.
that.
I like how he uses the pronoun she. It's really nice. He uses both, and we've talked about that before. But in case you're new, he uses he just as much as he uses she in his translation. Yep, straightforward but supple, radiant. I like that verse. So radiant but easy on the eyes.
Yes.
It's really nice, right? It's bright, but it's not blinding you. Same kind of thing, but it's just a
Hmm.
different way. Oops.
Yeah.
I'll put
So
this
he
back
kind of
up.
swaps, right? He swaps a little bit. So that one was a little bit harder to like split for me, but there we are. All right. So Dwight
Good
Goddard
job.
says, therefore, the wise man is square,
Uh-huh.
yet does not injure. You moved the thing, but I
Oh,
can keep reading.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yet does not injure.
I
He is angular, but does not annoy. He
love
is
it.
upright, but is not cross. He is bright,
Ah,
but not glaring. These are kind of funny.
I
So,
like it, and it's
angular.
go ahead,
Uh-huh.
you
Go
go.
ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go,
I,
you go.
I was gonna say it reminds me of sacred geometry or just geometry in general.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So because he's instead of pointed, he said angular and and not
Mm.
annoying. And you could look at it as an angle, or you can also look at it as a personality trait. If someone's angular, I guess you could say that they might be a little tough to deal with, but they're
Have
like that,
sharp
but they're not
edges.
annoying. Yeah, rough edges kind of, but they're not annoying though. It's like they're like that, but they know their limits. They're balanced. Right. Oh, right.
Ooh, what you just said made me think of yeah, they may be like that, but they don't annoy. So let's just say you're a personality type that is like a little bit like maybe a little rigid, maybe something that other people don't, but you don't act like it, right? You you allow people to just be, you accept them where they're at, and you don't have to quote show off or tell them that you know something better than they do or more than they do or you know and they don't. So you're not annoying people. You just keep it to yourself, but everyone is in the space that they're in. So you just allow them to be and allow them to come to wherever they need to come to on their journey.
It's really, and I don't think people, and I'm starting to realize this more, but it's so like to try to tell somebody, even if you know something for a fact, right? Like fluoride in the water or whatever, like, hang on, I don't want to let me put my disguise on. Like, all right, this isn't Brandon, everybody. Um, if whatever it is, from their based on their experience and everything they know and their point of view, it's right. So it's right to them. It aligns with truth to them, and it might be distorted or inverted or whatever, but because of what they've been told and how they feel and everything that's connected and attached to them, that's what is their truth. So it's like really what's the opposite of humble? What's the word? It's real you're lacking hubris.
Arrogant and prideful.
Yeah, being very arrogant to assume that you could just push your even if it's right, whatever it is, you perceive it as right or whatever from their lived experience to them it's right. And if you could embody and understand that's and treat people like that, I think that's closer to the golden rule. You're treating people how you wanted to be treated, because now
Mm-hmm.
you want somebody to listen to you and talk about how the frogs are turning gay or whatever. I'm trying to think of something funny to say, how Lee Harvey Oswald wasn't the only shooter. You want to hear, you want someone to listen to you, but they're not open to it, obviously. So just be open to them and accept it as truth, and you don't have to talk above them. And this is really just to add to what Sharon said, because she's saying, like, if they don't know, it's not your job to inform them about it. It's not your duty to educate people on your worldview, right? Because maybe you're wrong, and that's where it's the worst. You all this arguing, and then one day you find out you were wrong. You're like, oh shit. Anyway, it's still perfect though.
Yeah. Well, shall we
Well,
keep reading?
yeah.
Oh, he's upright but not cross. You want to just quickly comment
I
on
would
that?
love to talk about that. Yeah. So you could even think about cross as in somebody, if you describe them as cross, like they were cross when they dealt with me. This person was cross. This is one interpretation, obviously, right? So it could just mean that like they were short with you or something, but they're upright. So what it means, it could mean in one way is like you're standing as this tall example, but you don't have to like be a dick about it. Like it's like me, like I'm like this giant beautiful man with this voice, right, and everyone loves me, but I'm not a dick about it, right? I don't take advantage of it. I'm just like cool. I don't like ask people for money and shit, like you know what I mean? Like I don't take advantage of my awesomeness because I probably could put myself in positions because I'm so cool and nice and I do things for people. And if I went up to somebody who's like, listen, I really need a lot of money, that would put them in a situation because then they'd be like, oh man, or whatever example it is, right? That's just one example I'm using. But I feel like that's one interpretation. And that was obviously a little bit of comedy in there. But in another interpretation too could be you think about like Jesus and the cross, right? Like being nailed to the cross. So you're upright, you're upstanding, but you're not hard on yourself and you're not punishing yourself while you're doing it. Like people I see jogging in public, right? Jogging on the road all the time and like just destroying their knees. Um, when there's like a high traffic area, I'm always like, why are people jogging here? What are you doing with yourself? So anyway, again, no judgments, but I feel like that's what it is. It really basically it's like you're standing and you're upright, but you're not either being boastful and prideful about it, or you're not also being like making a self-sacrifice and like, like being that look
Martyrdom.
at me. Yeah, I'm a martyr up here, or martyr up here, a martyr. I'm a martyr up here. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Sharon. Great word.
Yeah.
All right. What do you think? You think
Yes, good.
cool.
I didn't really know kind of how to interpret that one there. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
And
he
again, I
was
think
right, but
there's a
not
lot of
cross.
ways to interpret it, but I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, that last line we've already gone through.
Oh yeah. Perfect. All right. So Stan Rosenthal, like we said earlier, he was a little out of order from the other ones. So this is the action of the sage. Okay, so we're talking about the behavior of the sage or the master, because he is aware that where happiness exists, there's also misery and strife. That where honesty may be found, there is an occasion for dishonesty, and that men may be beguiled. Uh, I'm trying to think the sage. Okay, that may be beguiled. Then he goes, the sage knows that no one can foretell just what the future holds. So really what he's saying is there's no way to tell the future because things aren't always what they seem, right? That's what he's saying. He's like, things aren't always what they seem, man. So guess what? This goes exactly in line with what I've been telling everybody. It's been crazy for the last 4 years. You can even say 8 years. But the 4 years before 2020 weren't as bad as and when I say as bad, I just mean as like crazy, right? Random nuts. But I think that we're headed for some times that people aren't going to expect. I think it's going to be like a peaceful, tranquil time for a while, and then maybe after that's going to get crazy again, but enjoy the time. And hey
Yes.
guys, maybe we're already in it. All you have to do is turn off the news and the media and you're already there. Isn't that
That's
crazy?
what I
I
try
don't
to
know if
do.
that's true. I'm
That's
not
what I
making
do.
claims, YouTube. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe it already happened. And that's why they're trying so hard for your attention. And they got this orange guy and everyone hates him or loves him. It's so funny.
Orange man
It's,
bad.
it sounds like a paradigm, right? Like a hate or love. Like you either gotta hate him or love him. And if you don't,
Yeah,
people
it's so
just they don't get
ridiculous.
it. They're like, wait, you don't love him, or you don't want to murder him, or you don't
Or
want to
you
like
don't hate him?
form
Yeah.
fellatio or
Oh my
yeah.
God.
you know anyway, I actually
Oh
this
my
stuff doesn't
Lord.
really bother me at all. I'm just making comedy out of it because it makes me laugh. But I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
don't pay attention to it.
Yeah, I don't either. It's
But I think it's a good release valve. It's a good comedy thing. But also really my main message is we're probably already in the peaceful, tranquil times. Whatever. Just go outside. It's beautiful. It's fall.
I'm peaceful.
All right. We gotta.
It's
We
a nice
gotta.
day for me.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
all
So,
right. Let's see.
yes. So that's what basically we're saying. Things aren't what they seem. So I guess you can go over here and read the. Unless there was something you wanted to focus on with Stan Rosenthal, the bottom half.
I found the dedication for dishonesty child. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, I think.
Okay.
All right. Aleister Crowley says the wise man is Foursquare. And I looked up Foursquare and it's consisting of four corners and four right angles. Square, firm, steady, unswerving, forthright, frank, and blunt. Those are some of the definitions of Foursquare. So he is, let's see, firm, steady, unswerving, forthright, frank. He's blunt. The wise man is Foursquare and avoideth aggression. So he's honest. He's like, he's telling you the truth. I mean, he's not being deceptive, I guess, is
And
what you can
another
say.
way also to look at this would be that the wise man is all these things. Now, if you think of somebody, this sounds really like Martian energy, like Mars, right? And then Mars is also the god of war, though. So if it's all these Martian qualities, but you just take out the aggression. So it is bluntness, straightforward, but without the aggression. And that's where the
Yeah.
balance comes in. And that's why he's the sage. And that's why no one's getting pissed off at him because he's doing
Yeah.
it in either a funny way, right? That's not
Yeah.
aggressive, or in just uh there's so many ways to do it without aggression, it's just to
Yeah.
communicate
Just a straightforward, like he says, forthright. Just he's
in an emotional way, right?
honest.
Like straightforward, like, listen, man, Sharon, I gotta tell you, you're so amazing. Or I could be like, you're so amazing, but it's if you have to give somebody constructive criticism, right? It's about the way that you do it too. You can do it in a nice, cool way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I learned about constructive criticism and kind of like diplomacy or being diplomatic when I first started working at the corporation where I worked for many years. Um, because like I was a lowly like peon, like just graduated from college, like knew nothing type of person, right? And I was going through these like documents that these people had created, these like that they were describing these, microchip devices and telling you how much XYZ was on them and blah blah blah. And I was kind of like, it wasn't my job to edit them, but I had to read through them and document some things about them. And I would notice these typos and these errors, but I didn't presume to be like, oh, you messed up. You did a copy paste error. So I would politely write them an email and I would say, I noticed as I was reading through this that you have this, but I also noticed that in another one, it says the same exact thing. Are these two the same device, or is, which one is which one has the, these registers and which one has this and whatnot. And that way I wasn't trying to be like, oh, you're wrong. I was just saying, I noticed something and I'm confused. So can you please clarify for me? And then they'd be like, oh yeah, that's a typo. Oops, that was a copy paste error or whatever. They would be the ones to acknowledge. I didn't have to make them feel bad or negative. I just said, I want clarification. I want to understand what actually I'm reading here. And then that would give me more credibility too, because then I was um I was finding errors for them, but I wasn't like shoving it in their faces. You know what I mean? So, and you can all drink a shot because I said, you know what I mean. So, everybody, if you're playing the drinking game, take a shot.
Nice. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, no, that exactly what I was talking about, right? It's the same, it's those qualities, but without the aggression, because people feel like sometimes those qualities are attached to aggression, or they have to be.
Yeah. And I could have been like, I can't do my job because you did a copy paste error and blah, blah, blah. Right. I could have been aggressive, but like, why did I have to do that? That wasn't going to help me at all.
Exactly. All
And it
right.
wasn't going to help them either.
And also what I wanted to say too, yeah, so the four square thing could, okay, so basically you can read the next part because it goes along with the next part. Read the next couple parts or whatever. Unless you're still
Yeah, we can read. His corners do not injure others. He moveth in a straight line and turneth not or turns not aside from it, therefrom. He says therefrom. He is brilliant, but doesn't blind with his brightness.
there you go. Some more geometry there with the square and the straight line. I like that because
Yeah.
you think of the square line with pointed edges and it's going to be sharp, but it's like we said in the last verse, it's you still have that sharpness, but you know when to use it and how to use it.
Yeah. And that moving in a straight line makes me think of a straight shooter.
Yeah, exactly. This guy's a real straight shooter, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
All righty then. So let's see, verse 59. Should we go on to the next verse then?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's do
All
it.
right. Moving right along. So we're going to go through and read them. Verse 59, Stephen Mitchell from 1988. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation. The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas. Wow. Tolerant like the sky, all pervading like sunlight, firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind, he has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. Nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. He can care for all people's welfare as a mother cares for her child.
Dwight Goddard says to keep Tao in governing the people and in worshiping heaven, nothing surpasses moderation. To value moderation, one must, oh, you read the whole thing, right? Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
To value moderation, one must form the habit early. Its early acquisition will result in storing and accumulating vitality. By storing and accumulating vitality, nothing is impossible. Like that. If
Yeah.
nothing is impossible, then one is ignorant of his limits. If one does not know his limitations, one may possess the state. He who possesses moderation is thereby lasting and enduring. It is like having deep roots and a strong stem. This is this is of long life and enduring insight, the Tao way. I got to read that again. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
This is of long life and enduring insight, the Tao way. I'm so confused by that last. I don't know if there's a typo there or what. I'll see if I can. No, I don't
Yeah, I
think
mean, there should be a
I
comma
got.
or something. Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
They
where.
also
Yeah,
like to leave
we'll
them a
figure
little,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Guarding the, so Stan Rosenthal from 1984, guarding the Tao. By acting with no thought of self advancement, but with self restraint, it is possible to lead and genuinely care for others. This happens by acting virtuously and by leaving nothing to be done. A foundation virtuous and firm, rooted in receptivity, is a prerequisite of good leadership, and for a life both long and strong. He whose virtue knows no limit is most fitting to lead. His roots are deep and his life protected by his meditative practice, as the bark protects the tree. As the bark protects the tree.
Aleister Crowley, warding the Tao. To balance our earthly nature and cultivate our heavenly nature, tread the middle path. This middle path alone leadeth to the timely return to the true nature. This timely return resulteth from the constant gathering of magic powers. With that gathering cometh control. This control we know to be without limit, and he who knoweth the limitless may rule the state. He who possesseth the Tao continueth long. He is like a plant with well set roots and strong stems. Thus it secureth long continuance of its life. I have an extra period there. I'll delete that.
All right.
Oops. I hope I had the whole let me just double check that I have the whole. Yeah, there was just an extra period there for some reason.
No worries. All right. So it seems to be another verse about government and governing a country. But again, we could look at that as self-governance, governing ourselves.
Indeed.
Brightness. Oh, there we go. Okay. I had to turn up my brightness because I blocked out the sun. So it got a little. Let's see here. All right. I guess we can break these down. For governing a country well, there is nothing better than moderation.
Mm.
This is what we've been saying the whole time, right? Moderation.
What the Tao's all about.
The mark of a moderate man is freedom from his own ideas. Now, there it is, right? Freedom from your own ideas. So basically, when you're not free from your own ideas, you are enslaved by your own ideas, is what they're saying here.
Freaking smokes. This reminds me so much of the class that I just did that Bootsy Greenwood put together, Owen Hunt. He put together a class about your path to your purpose, and he bases it on on all the things that he's learned in the past several years. He says 12, but mostly based on the reality transurfing information, but he incorporates other thoughts, ideas. But wow, freedom from his own ideas. It makes me think of pendulums that are like egregores, I think, which are like, they're not necessarily your ideas, but you think they are, right? Because you've been indoctrinated to think that they're your ideas. Wow. Anyway, it just made me think of that. Go ahead.
And isn't that what indoctrination and mind control is? And nobody else can mind control you, everybody. Listen, other people are going to tell you that the government's going to mind control you and all this stuff, but I am here to tell you that maybe they can't, because you can only allow yourself to be controlled by your own mind. And when your terrible mind is controlling you instead of the other way around, then you're open and receptive to all these other programs that could come in and start.
Not in control.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I heard some cat things going on. What's going on? If there's a cat fight going on or something. Actual cats, everybody. Yeah, so I love that part. Yeah. Good
Indeed.
stuff. Indeed.
So like it's nuanced though, because I would say, like, from your own ideas, you could translate that as like, okay, your ego's ideas of who you are, right?
Yeah, or just really being too rigid in your own ideas and not being open-minded to other possibilities, right?
Right.
Exactly. And of course, very nuanced, because it's not like, oh, well, then does that mean I shouldn't murder people? It's like, no, that's why you don't share this information with everybody. That's why we only share it with you guys here on the Oversharing Show. You are select. We're very, what's the word? We're very for a unique audience.
Niche.
Yeah, we're very niche. We're tolerant like the sky, all pervading like sunlight. So I like that, all pervading like sunlight, tolerant like the sky. Some more nature metaphors here: firm like a mountain, supple like a tree in the wind. That's a good one. We talked about that last week. Trees that don't bend fall over and break, right? He has no destination in view and makes use of anything life happens to bring his way. It's basically what we talk
Oh
about all the
my
time.
God. Make use of anything and everything that life brings you.
Yeah. Like the other day when I was at a wedding on Saturday and they wanted us to play after the cocktail hour. They wanted us to. They already had a ceremony in Norway. That's probably why I said Norway. They're really cool though. But they wanted us to play a video of that ceremony, and we had a projector and everything set up. And there was a lot of issues with whoever was preparing the video for them. So I didn't get that video until I was setting up for the wedding and almost done setting up. And we have a computer that we use to control lights and stuff. So it's just a MacBook, but there's no email on it. So they sent me a link. So weird thing was like, I'm like,
Oh
how am I going to
my
get this link
God.
onto this computer? So you know what I did? I could have copied
A
out the link.
USB drive?
I could have done that. I went to one of my videos on YouTube and commented the link. So I copied the link from my computer, commented on my welcome video, that link, and then I got on the other computer, went on YouTube and clicked on it, and it worked.
Oh, because you don't have email, but you still have the internet. Okay,
Yeah, I
got
saw
it.
the internet, but I just didn't have access to email. And I was thinking about how do you get a link? I'm like, I can't IM it because
Yeah.
there's no accounts on this computer, and
Yeah.
not like sign up.
Yeah.
I didn't have a
The
lot of
comment
time.
field.
So
Very
I
nice.
just
Good.
commented. I'm
Clever.
like a digital
Yes.
MacGyver, right? So I just use what
Yeah.
and everyone else
What you
like,
had.
yeah, and everyone else is like,
Yeah.
and even Dwayne is like, if you don't get the video to play, don't worry. I'll get it to play, don't worry. On the way there, he called me. He's like, if they send it, because I didn't still didn't have it. And of course, I didn't know about any of this until I was driving. But anyway, because I usually don't do that, but they needed the digital MacGyver, so I stepped in. Anyway, it worked out. But that's enough about me, everybody. But that's really what it's about. I'm just, sharing examples of how things, because previously in my life, I could have been like, upset about it and just been like, sorry, we can't do this video, blah, 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 whatever. But I trusted there would be a way.
Yeah.
And
A way will
there
be
was.
provided for you
Yep. So
if you
that's
just
that.
trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dwight Goddard. In governing the people and in worshiping heaven, nothing surpasses moderation. Nice. To value moderation, one must form the habit early. Yes, but
Uh,
hey, you could start now too. Its early acquisition will result in storing and accumulating vitality. By storing and accumulating vitality, nothing is impossible. Could it be? Could it be?
I like this because he goes right to the person.
Yeah.
One must instead of
Yeah.
keeping it about government. I mean, it does say the
Mhm.
mark of a moderate man, so I guess it's kind of the same thing. But all right,
Yeah.
nothing is impossible. Remember that, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. That one was like self-explanatory, I think.
All right, Stan Rosenthal. By acting with no thought of self-advancement, but with self-restraint, it is possible to lead and genuinely care for others. Well, that's pretty
Mm.
self-explanatory.
Yeah.
This happens by acting virtuously. All right. Are you following everybody? And leaving nothing to be done. So the nothing to be done thing is all about the doing but not doing, right? Foundation, virtuous and firm, rooted in receptivity, is a prerequisite for good leadership. Yeah, he's really spelling it out here. I mean, this is like not really coded, so this is great. And for a life both long and strong. So the same thing though with foundation as what here, I'll just go right up here to Dwight Goddard. He basically says early acquisition, right? What is early
Mm.
acquisition? Nothing other than a
A good
foundation.
foundation.
So you
Yeah.
could start at any time, you could build that foundation anytime.
Yeah.
It's really because I think the foundation is less about time and like your actual personage. It's more about your personality and who you are. What foundation is that built on? Because you could change that at any time. Right. It's not about being a kid and having to know this. And now that you're an adult, you're like screwed over because you weren't moderate your whole life. You know what I mean? So, all right.
Indeed.
Yeah, all right. So what's Aleister have to say though?
Yeah, Aleister Crowley says to balance our earthly nature and cultivate our heavenly nature, tread the middle path. Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
he says middle path, and that's moderation, right? Dwight Goddard
Mm-hmm.
said moderation. But yeah, it's funny how Dwight Goddard says in governing people and worshiping heaven, nothing surpasses moderation. But Alistair says it a little differently to balance our earthly nature and cultivate our heavenly nature. And he says balance already, right? Tread the middle
Mm-hmm.
path, same thing.
Yeah, he uses both balance and middle path. He's
Yeah.
really nailing it.
The middle path alone, the middle path alone leads to the timely return to the true nature. This timely return results from the constant gathering of magic powers. With the gathering cometh control. And I believe this magic with a K, is a different magic than most people think. And maybe Brandon can talk about that.
So there are all types of interpretations, but the way we would look at it in the lens of the over Sharon show worldview would be how you create your everyday creation, your life. When you get up every day, everything that happens, you're the creator. You're creating with magic. And so what he's saying here
Magic with
is
the
you're
K.
with a K, and while you're gathering it, you're slowly learning and building it from a solid foundation, right? So you're not just jumping into something, you're slowly learning and building it. And as you do it, what's the word he actually uses? Control. You gain control.
Self control.
Self. Yeah. Fucking yeah. Exactly. Sharon. Self control. And it really it reminds me a lot of like the death card. You have this death, dark night of the soul, whatever, rebirth. You're a new person. You see the world through new eyes, and you rebuild this whole thing. And that's really, I feel like, what he's talking about, because then you have that self control, especially when it has to do with that kind of dark night of the soul, when it's about waking up to the, you know, the terrible mind and trying to overcome that and stuff. So yeah, I like how he puts it. There's a lot of truth here. Good job, Aleister.
Yeah.
He's just laughing on us from heaven. He's just looking out and smiling. Look, hang on, wait, you ready? Thank you, Aleister. Good job. Thank you, Brandon. Oh, look at all that. Look, it's Aleister shining down.
So stupid.
All right. I mean, maybe
Ah.
he's, in hell. I don't know, whatever.
I
No,
hope
he's
he's in a place. I hope he's in a place of um, learning
probably back here
what
again.
his experience, what his experiences were in this lifetime that he lived, so that he can live a better and more um,
Balance.
just a more balanced life next time
Yeah.
around. Whether he's
Yeah.
here or whether he's still in that place,
Oh, you know what?
deciding
You know what's crazy? I didn't
if
mean to
there is
share it
such a
right
place.
away. Is like, what if he, like, if reincarnation, the way we kind of understand it's real, and he is back in this realm, and he's like, his own work is helping him be a better person now. You know what I mean? Like,
Why wouldn't it? Like, why
yeah,
wouldn't it?
wouldn't that be crazy though? Like,
Yeah.
I love it. Or maybe
Yeah.
the way it works, and then we'll get right back into the screen share. But maybe also the way it works is there's pieces of us that divide. So maybe we all have a piece of Aleister Crowley inside us.
I mean, what was the quote today?
Some people had
You
it
were
in their.
not. Go ahead.
I said maybe everyone has a piece of Aleister Crowley inside of us, and I'm like, yeah, some of us had a piece where we didn't want it. No, anyway,
God.
because they said he was a sodomite.
Oh my God.
I'm
I
here all
think he
week,
was
folks. I'll be
I
here all
think
week.
he was bi, but
Yeah,
whatever.
that's what they say.
To each his own. Um, so the quote was, again, for today, was, you are not a drop in the ocean, you're the entire ocean in a
Exactly.
drop. So could it be we all have a little bit of everybody in us?
Even the Aldolfo Hitlerio guy. Oh man. All right, we gotta share. All right, back to the Dow, everybody. that's that's the point that I make when people like I see a house around me when I drive by, and it's like, we will not let hate win is a sign, and then another sign is we are not going back to the way it was, or we are not going back, this giant sign on their house. I looked again just to make sure I wasn't, because I think I talked about it on the show. I was not exaggerating. It's got to be 15 to 18 feet long, because it's a nice old farmhouse. So the whole front of the house, which was the original house, it's like, and then it's like 2 or 3 feet tall. Anyway, all right. If you have hate in your heart, Jesus, when he comes back, he's gonna know. All right. Yeah.
I mean, he
So
probably knows right now.
yeah, he definitely knows. I was just thinking of the Joe Dirt. Is this where we want to be when Jesus comes back? All right. So the second part, nothing is impossible for him. So again, he's alluding up here to the moderate man. He's not even saying sage or master or anything. He's saying moderate man, right?
Indeed.
Nothing
Yeah.
is impossible for him because he has let go. Now you would say, oh, then he
Mm.
can fly, Brandon. No, but a moderate man probably wouldn't have the need to fly himself, like to just, but who knows? Maybe it's happened before where people like Jesus walked on water. They said, people, other stories of people walking on water. I mean,
Unless it was a metaphor. We don't know.
it's not like Jesus was like, oh, watch me do this. It was like, no, there was a storm and he had to calm them and he had to say, look, and he performed a miracle
Everything's going to
because
be okay.
everything's going to be okay. Sometimes you need to do that. Yeah. So, but my original point with that was,
Maybe it was a
moderate man.
city. Yeah, but go ahead.
Could it be? Maybe there was ice underneath and he was just messing with them. Maybe he was a prankster, he set it up. You never know. David Blaine, he had technology ahead of other people and he was blowing their minds. But yeah, but nothing is impossible for him because he has let go. This is something we've been talking about that is huge, right? Letting go.
Hmm.
Letting go. It's really about letting go of expectations and of your desires and just kind of being okay with what it is. It's like someone who stops drinking beer and they start drinking water instead. It's going to be rough at first, but when I was in the Marines, like this is what 1994, so people weren't into drinking water all the time. We like drank soda and juice and all this stuff. So when I got to boot camp, the only thing we could drink was water, except maybe like at chow time or whatever. They might have had like juice or whatever. But when we're all day, we just had canteens. We could drink water. So I got so used to drinking water that I loved it. I was like, oh, this is great. Whereas at first it was like, oh, why just want to drink water? Now everyone drinks water, but it's the same kind of thing. At first, it might not seem great. Like, oh, I really wanted that cheeseburger or whatever it was your desire, right? But as you start to feel more grateful and focus on that, and it starts to expand in your life, that's kind of when you see the benefits. And that's when, like, now when you drink water, it feels so nourishing. It's a quality you may have missed before if you were only drinking soda for the high. So there's this period, right? Like we say, dark night of the soul or whatever. There's these different things alluded to. So, but yeah, I like how we
Yeah.
could get so much out of one little line, right?
Indeed.
He can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child.
And he can do that because he has let go. That's the beginning of the sentence. Because he has let go, he can care for the people's welfare as a mother cares for her child.
It's a great analogy because mothers and anyone who's become a mother can surely attest to this. Your whole worldview changes because now instead of, well, most mothers
Thinking of
good,
yourself
that are
only.
good mothers, I'll say,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. They're instead of putting yourself first, now you're worried about feeding the child, clothing the child. Is the child, are we going to live in a place where the child is going to have a good upbringing? Whereas before it's like, oh, we don't care if we party in the city or whatever. So
Yeah.
great analogy. Good job. Good job, Aleister. Yeah. No, that
That
was
was Stephen Mitchell.
yeah, I know. I just wanted to do the sun thing.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that one.
We will, and I'll get the light shining on me again. Anyway, so up to here we
Dwight
go.
Goddard, verse 59 says, if nothing is impossible, then one is ignorant of his limits. Okay, so let me just, for my own brain here, if everything is possible, right? Because I'm going to backwards it,
Yep.
then I am ignorant of my limitations. then I don't know my. Okay, then I'll just put it this way. I maybe like I know my freedom,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Dude, you're killing it today. Yeah.
right? Am I
Yeah.
translating it
Yeah,
correctly?
I really think you are. Yeah, because what is a limitation? A limitation could just be it's like a jail cell, right? It's
Yeah. A
something confining
box.
you and it takes away your freedom. It's the absence of freedom. That's what a limitation is. So if you have true freedom, well said, Sharon. I like that.
Then okay, so let's say it again. If I know, well, if nothing is impossible, so if everything is possible, then I truly know my freedom.
Yeah.
I like that better because then I can make sense of that. That when it's like knots and negatives, I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, no, well, that's the great thing because they put it here aliphatically,
Mm-hmm.
which is way more responsible to put it that way, and then we, come along and glean our own meaning out of it. And I think you gleaned a great one. So good job, Sharon. Hang on, wait, I'll do this. Great job, Sharon. It's a new theme as long as the sun's
I
up.
love it. I love it. I love it. I just want to say it again. If everything is possible, if everything is possible, because
I'm gonna
nothing's
share it too.
impossible, if
Yeah.
everything is possible, then I know my freedom, right?
Hmm. If
Wow.
one does not know his limitations,
Yeah.
one may possess the state. So if one knows their freedom, they could possess the state.
Yeah. If you know your freedom, then you could be a ruler, you know?
Yeah,
Right?
that too. Yeah, yeah. And you possess
If
the state instead of the state possessing you, which
saying
works on all
you
levels internally and does the state possess you or do you possess the state? Is the government working for you or are you working for them? Is your mind possessing you or are you possessing your mind?
gubernare, Molon Lebet. I'm just
All right,
kidding.
folks. Get as offended as you like. I gotta hear him say it again. All right. That's all
I'm
love.
not gonna do it anymore, folks. I can't do it.
All right, folks.
Yay.
They're trash.
Trash.
Trash pandas.
Oh
Trash.
my
All
God.
right.
Fake ass Christians.
We need a soundboard from Mark Passio. That's what we should make.
Oh,
Have
oh my
Cody do
God.
a soundboard that
Yes.
we could just push the button
Yes.
and it could be
Yes,
Cody's
we need.
voice.
Yes, we need that. I
Cody.
need to have him record those bits. I'm gonna have him do that.
All right. There's
Yes,
probably an app that
that'll
does
be
that for
really
you too.
fun. And then you just play them. Fake ass Christians.
New age bullshit. That'd be a
Yeah.
great one to have. Because when we say, the new age, boom, new age bullshit, well, like, they'll tell you that,
Yes. I'm
unless we
excited.
could just get Cody to stand here all day. No, I'm just kidding. Do it,
No, we
Cody.
need a
No,
soundboard.
I
We'll
know
do a
I'm joking.
soundboard. That'll be fun.
Cody's our slave now. No. You stand in the corner and do Mark Passio
Audio
noises
slave.
when we tell you, Cody. No, I'm just kidding. I love Cody. I like breaking his balls. All right.
Yeah,
No,
so
that's a great idea though. That would be a fun way to incorporate.
yes,
Yeah.
it is. I'm excited about it. All right, so I'll
Uh,
finish reading that
yes, please do.
part that says, he who possesses moderation is thereby lasting and enduring. I don't think that really needs explanation, but if we look, I think who else said it? Did somebody else say it something way? Never mind. I'll just keep going. It is like having deep roots and a strong stem. This this is of long life and enduring insight, the Tao way. Maybe it needs the comma after is and comma after insight.
This is of long life and enduring insight. The Tao. Yeah, maybe even just a comment after Insight. This is of long. I mean, yeah, because this
Yeah,
is of
maybe.
long
Yeah.
life. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's 1919, so they were. Listen, it was about to be. They were partying so hard. It was about to be the Roaring Twenties. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying, everybody.
Yeah. They're about to get bobs, their hair bobbed.
Yeah, the Gatsby was about to get great. Come on,
I
everybody.
never I never
I know,
watched it or whatever, or read it
but
or
it's
whatever.
in 1919. Gatsby probably wasn't so great, and it wasn't until the Roaring Twenties. Gatsby was about to get great, and I saw Cody put a laughing emoji,
I
so
know.
maybe he's he's probably down for that idea. I'm sure he is.
Hopefully. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. All right,
We
let's
could do
say we get on
Gubernare and
Gouverneur.
Molon LeBay.
Yeah, in New Age bullshit. Yeah,
Anton LeBay. I mean LeVay. Just kidding.
I I bet he would probably find it hilarious if we did it that in that fashion that I described. We'd probably get his attention by doing that actually. So yes, Cody, let's get on it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I mean, obviously we have nothing but love. Mark Passio schooled me to so much stuff. Just because I don't agree with
Yeah,
everything
like
he thinks, it's like
Mark
what am I
Passio
supposed
was
to do?
one of the first people with his videos that got me kind of just to see like where I was and kind of, the quote wake me up a little bit, just kind of like, wait, where are we? What is this? Like what are we doing? What's going on?
Yeah, like if you're somebody who's a fan of Mark Passio, try to get his ear. I don't know. He doesn't leave comments. If you can somehow get his ear, tell him come on the Oversharing show because we would love to share our gratitude for that we have with him, and then make him laugh because I know he likes to laugh, and then just like talk about
Yeah,
whatever we
make
talk
him
about.
laugh. We need to make him
It
laugh.
would be. Let me tell you, if you like Mark Passio, it would be a unique sighting of our. Like it would be a unique interview. That's all I gotta say. You guys know that too, I'm sure. But yeah.
Yeah, it would be different. I don't think it would be typical at all.
And it wouldn't be any, obviously any challenging. We're not gonna like who cares about that stuff. We're just gonna talk about
Yeah.
what we have in common and our gratitude, and and we'll even
Yeah.
share our idea with the sound bites. I'm sure you would like that. Yes. Okay. Back to the Tao.
If we don't
Back
already have the sound
to
bites ready.
down. What do you say? He already has them ready.
Back to the Tao.
Back
Back
to
to reality.
reality. Yeah. Back to the here and now. He whose virtue knows no limit is most fitting to lead. And yes, I would have to agree with you, Stan Rosenthal. And he does put it very plainly here. Because if, like Sharon said, right, we take the right here, boom, I'll just show you here. We take nothing is right here. If nothing is impossible, or a whole thing about the freedom, right? We know that we're free. If you apply it here, he whose virtue knows no limit, same thing. He who knows he's free is fitting to lead. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, if your virtue knows no limit, then you're just virtuous and no one can like really um quantify it really because it just because it is.
Uncorruptible, right? Because you're
Yeah, and
virtuous.
it's like what when someone is virtuous, what is that word that people use where they're not, you could say they are not
Like untouchable,
they're, yeah,
uncorruptible,
above reproach or whatever, right? That sort of thing.
unreputed.
Yeah, I think it's above reproach. So people who are above reproach are the ones who are fit to lead because no one can find, it was like Jesus was above reproach because like even Pontius Pilate was like, I find nothing wrong with this man. Like he hasn't done anything wrong. Like, what are you people talking about? I don't get it. This man's above reproach.
That's right. That's what I'm
That's
going
why
to
they
do
didn't
after the
want him to
show.
lead.
After the show, I'm going to go wash my hands like Pontius Pilate and eat some food. I'm going to go wash my hands like Pontius Pilate. This starts. No, that's exactly 100% right, though. I just, I'm silly. Okay, short attention span. We got it. Guys, if you haven't seen last week's episode, just go watch that because Sharon made me laugh so hard. She was the funny one, and I was disgraced. No, it was great. I was hilarious. Okay. His roots are deep and his life protected by his meditative practice. So this again, the same thing with the virtue, knowing no limits and knowing your freedom. It all has to do, if you know your freedom, it's because you're free from your own mind. When
Right. Somebody said that in another verse.
this is something I heard in
Freedom from his own ideas. Yeah, Stephen
yes,
Mitchell at the beginning of.
the terrible mind, right? Because that's what can drive some people crazy. Some people that kill themselves, it's like their mind.
Mhm.
They overthink it. But
Yeah,
if
but
you get
this one, yeah, go ahead.
the
This guy says
meditative state,
meditative practice. Yeah.
yes, you're exercising your brain. You realize when you're caught lost in thought and you can let go and get back to the present moment. Ooh, I keep hitting my mic. I'm not in the present moment, but I'm telling you guys to be in the present moment. And I'm back in the present moment, Allison. It's great. So if you're in the present moment, then you're not worried about any of this stuff. It's more code for the present moment. Anytime they talk about meditative stuff, right? It's just getting back to life, back to
Back to
reality.
life.
As the
Yes.
bark protects the tree. So your meditative practice, allow that to be your bark if you're a tree. In your mind, your internal state, right? What protects
You
your
are the
internal,
tree.
what
The
protects that
bark is the
calmness,
meditation.
the meditative state, that bark, the outside protects it, the calm, like the ocean that's roaring above and the hurricane's going and it's going crazy up there and the boats are getting moved around, but underneath it's
It's
tranquil. And
calm.
Nemo's
Yes.
down there and his dad's looking for him.
And Dory's
Nemo
down there
and
too.
Dory's down there forgetting what she was doing. I gotta watch that movie again because I love that movie back before I was like, into all this.
Yeah.
Before I was crazy, I really like that movie. So I'm sure there's a
Before I
message
went
there.
crazy.
Before I went
Does
crazy.
that make me crazy?
That's why this is an entertainment show, everybody. We label it as entertainment.
This
Are
is
you not entertained? Are you not entertained? We don't know anything.
Yes,
We're entertaining
it's
you. That's our purpose.
it's an entertainment show for sure.
And hopefully you'll have a good time and have a easier life. All right, we're almost done actually, everybody. This is amazing stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
these two verses, what more can I say? All right. Up, the sun went out. I guess Alistair's not shining at us anymore. Oh well. It went behind the trees. Okay.
It's not shining.
The sun's behind the trees.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Sorry, Aleister Crowley's version here. This control we know to be without limit. So he's talking about the previous last little piece he said, where with that gathering comes control. So the gathering of your magic powers comes control. And this control we know to be without limit. See, it's limitless. And he who knoweth the limitless may rule the state. Again, we said that Dwight Goddard said something very similar. He who possesses the Tao continues long. So, like we were talking about earlier, another verse also talked about it, but some other variations of this verse also said it, that you'd have a long life. Or it's also alluding to, yeah, see the plant. Okay. He is like a plant with well set roots and strong stems. Thus it secureth long continuance of its life. So yeah, I mean, it's basically saying what some of the other verses said, or the other variations or versions.
Just in a more fancy way, I guess you could say. I don't know. Oops. Hang on. I lost my share button. There we go. I was oversharing. I was sharing past the point where it was relevant.
Yes.
I mean, these were, what more can we say, right? I mean, like, good stuff. What does the chat think? What do you guys think? You guys still there? Hello. Is there
Nihal
anybody
says he's
listening?
totally in. Yeah, there you
Can
go.
anybody
He's
hear
totally
me?
entertained, he said.
Who is?
How
Oh
does the
yeah.
verse go? What's the next line? Do
Is
do
there
do 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 do. I
anyone?
just know the.
Is there anyone at home?
There you go.
There is no pain you are receiving. Oh, so they played that at the I was standing up dancing in Elizabeth. Like not many people were, but I was like, I can't. I walked out and that was their finale. I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm like, I was like dancing
Where was this?
at so Elizabeth's friend, her husband, great dude. Shout out to that guy. I don't know if he'd be saying names or whatever, but he's a bass player and he played at a restaurant and bar on a Sunday. It was like
Oh,
from
okay.
1 to 4, 1 to 5, whatever. We got there around like 3 to 5 for the second half, and that's where I said I did karaoke after. But outside though, we were hanging out, a bunch of people just sitting down. They had like food and drinks and stuff. And some lady came up to Elizabeth and I like toward the end and was like, I just want to let you know you guys seem so happy. You're such a beautiful couple. It's so great to see people so in love. I was like, whoa, thank you. Cause like I was like getting them dancing and stuff, you know. So yeah. But then I walked in, I think I was like getting us drinks or something and came out and they were just starting Pink Floyd, like, and it was the finale.
Mm.
Like I was like, so yeah, I didn't sit down. I'm like, it was great. So I was singing along. It was fun. That's what I
Cool.
do for fun, everybody. I sing. I,
I don't know that many Pink Floyd songs.
I, growing up, everybody, like my cousins were older than me and they were super into it, but I just was not because they were, you know. And then later in life, I got into it, especially as I had my awakening in 2020, like the song "Comfortably Numb" is just like it's like it was written for 2020 because he's like he basically talks about getting an injection and stuff, you know. It's really anyway, everybody, we're talking about a song from the 70s, so no need to get alarmed. Actually, what we're gonna shift gears and let's read the chat a little bit. Am I too inappropriate to speak my words? That's so funny to me. I am so sorry for making. Uh-oh. Is everyone cool in there? What's going on?
No, I don't know. I'm not sure what.
Oh. Uh I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, Pink Floyd 444 44. All right, so
Ooh,
what I was gonna
444.
do
Nice.
in 44 seconds. So that it leads me to do what I wanted to do now, which was to do something. We talk about more laws, more problems.com all the time. But I was gonna bring up the actual website. That's right, here it is. I forgot I went back to YouTube for a second. Okay, I should have just gave it its own tab. There we go, everybody. More laws, more problems.com. It's funny because last week, if you watch last week's episode, you'll see about all the whole no moral whatever. But so if you look at this January 23rd, so almost 12 years ago, everybody, you could go back and look at me, my experiences as a sheep. I talk about my time in the Marines. That's me, everybody. Look at oh, it's
Oh,
bringing me to Twitter. Where did I have that at? To my Twitter. That's funny. We talked about my Twitter. Oh, this is my email. Let's not do. All right, everybody. We're gonna just share everybody's information. Okay. It won't let me stop. Okay.
all that.
All right. So that's my website, everybody. Um so go to morelawsmoreproblems.com. Check it out. Click on the oversharing tab. That's what I meant to do. I must have clicked off the website. I don't know what I was doing. It's so crazy. What did I do?
That's okay.
All right. All right. Anyway, you
No
guys know the
worries.
website. Um And to support us, the best way to support us is to go to that website, or no, the best way to support us is to come here every Thursday and hang out when we go live. Right, we're live, and you can hang out in the chat and to comment and to subscribe and to all those things. That's the best way to support us. And I guess it's a good time to say, what do we say to the good people, Sharon?
But once you start oversharing,
Then you totally stop being a Karen.
that's right.
And remember, everybody, we're not trying to tell you how to live.
We're just trying to share more ways to live along the middle path, shall we say?
Well said, Sharon. All right, everybody. Until next week, have a great weekend and keep on over Sharon. We'll talk to you
Keep on
soon.
trucking.
Keep on trucking.